I think we're live. I need a thumbs up. Oh, there's a thumbs up. Kelly, do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
One day he's going to get one of those giant, like, foam thumbs up.
We need like a light.
It's episode number 4. Look at us. Trucking along.
We're doing great.
We are. Episode 4.
Oh, wait. No, we have to do this one. No.
Wait,
like this.
What is that? And then the
thumb
hugs.
hug. Aw.
It's a therapist thing. Because I'm a tattoo guy. We're like this. Like,
We gotta
what's up, bro?
hug.
Okay, hugging is not a therapist thing.
It's not
No,
hand
what?
thug.
Aw.
All right, so it's
But
me.
I felt very uncomfortable.
And counts
felt
you already.
With
no,
my
Oh, just
no,
wait.
no, the physical touch.
I know.
It
All
freaks
right.
you out.
Yes, don't hug me. Don't
All
touch
right,
me.
I'm not
I
going to. You
can't
set some
hug
boundaries
you.
right off the rip.
She's
So
like,
it's
"And
me."
also don't touch me.
Counselor Kelly, and we have a special guest today. Kelly, I'm gonna let you introduce as well because this is your person.
This is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi.
Melissa, I will let you introduce yourself as much as you would like to about your credentials and your current career.
Okay. So my name's Melissa. I am a therapist. I have my master's in social work. I am also a licensed independent social worker.
Dang.
Oh, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, I got my supervision designation too.
Yeah,
I
she's
forgot
a
about
Dang.
that.
supervisor now.
I play guitar.
And she's leaving me.
Is she really?
She's
I am
moving.
leaving.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Columbus.
Oh,
I'm
On
really
purpose?
Yes. I
By choice.
Have you been there?
yes.
Nothing against Columbus.
I just need to get out of Northeast Ohio.
Oh, well, that'll.
Why?
Why?
Oh shit! We're
Yes.
just getting right into it, huh?
Why?
Because
Well, because I know.
Oh
right?
shit!
Like,
Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah.
She's a good friend of mine. So,
Yes.
So Melissa,
why do you
why
want
are
to
you
go to
leaving?
a bigger city?
because I have been struggling a lot with just being in the community that I am. I have been experiencing some, like, I wouldn't call it like discrimination, but like microaggressions with like lots of the people around me after I came out.
Oh, so this is a newer thing.
Yes.
How long have you been out, if
Mhm.
you don't mind me asking?
So in January it was 2 years.
2 years.
I was gonna say, I thought it was.
So it's
about 2
pretty new,
years.
huh?
Yeah.
Really new.
Baby gay.
I gotcha.
Very
So
baby
it's
gay.
Baby gay.
Yes, there's
Is,
lots
is
of
that your
Baby
rap
gay.
name? DJ
You-
Baby Gay?
Well, so there's so many like random little terms that are part of like the LGBTQ community, and baby gay is very much a thing. Like
Yeah.
I feel like developmentally I am like a middle school boy.
Oh, you're at that, like
Yes.
figuring it out.
Yes.
Yes.
You just took me back to, like, when I was young.
When I texted her, I said baby gay, and then I immediately responded with like, "Are you still a baby gay?" And she's like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah.
2 years
Yes.
in, I'm still a baby
Like
gay.
preteen.
I was like, okay, I don't want to be
Yes.
offensive.
Yes.
Like,
Like you know like
are you like a tween gay?
Jesus.
maybe a tween gay.
You're a tween.
You're a little past baby. You're a toddler gay.
Toddler gay. Like we're
This has
we're
sounded
like,
horrible. Let's stop putting any kind of child thing with gay and just say you're a newly gay.
yes.
Is that better?
Newly
I like
out,
that better.
newly practicing.
I like newly gay. Newly practicing. So walk me through a little bit of that experience for you. Do you come from a big family or a small family?
It's weird because kind of both. So, my mom's side is all from Brazil.
Okay.
So, when like in Ohio and in America, really, it's just me and my mom.
That's it.
We have one distant cousin in Georgia. I've never met her before.
That's it.
Yes,
Just 2.5, basically. I mean, she might be a
Yes.
whole person.
she is a whole person.
She's a
Well,
whole person.
she's a whole person, but I have
Do you have
never
her
met
phone number?
No,
Let's
Here
see.
goes-
Right.
she's
I'm
had-
friends with her on Facebook.
That does not count.
And if I'm being honest, I can't even remember her name.
Holy shit, she's a
Oh,
half a
so like a quarter person.
quarter.
Yes, like a
Jeez, we're getting on
quarter
to, like
A
know
quarter
percentage.
of a support system.
Yeah.
Yes.
She is not.
So your mom
She is
is
not part of your natural support system.
No.
How'd she end up here?
So she grew up in Brazil. That's again where all my family is. She is she's one of 7. So she um, went to school, and during high school, there's 3 girls, and so each sister has did student exchange when they were a
Okay.
senior in high school. So my mom, she went when she was a senior in high school. She decided she wanted to do it too because her other sisters did,
Made sense.
and so she was in Pennsylvania for her senior year, and she loved it. But then she went back home. She went to nursing school, went to college, lived in the city of Rio de Janeiro
Nice.
for a few years, and then realized that she wanted to come back to the U.S. but didn't really know what to do. So she was an au pair
Yeah.
in Beechwood, Ohio.
Just randomly.
Yeah, very
It
like it was
seems random,
like
doesn't
it was random. Like
Right.
There was no
like,
internet back then, right?
No, so like
That's
this was
insane.
probably like 1990.
I like that we struggle with anything. Like we struggle if our phone isn't working, and
Oh,
your
yeah.
mom literally
Internet goes
managed
down,
to make
and
it
we're
to the
like, oh my
U.S.
God.
twice
Mhm.
as a young Brazilian woman.
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
And like she was going to just do it for a year. She got paired with a family that was in Beechwood, and there was a family that was a mom, a dad, and a son. The mom was had been recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and she was struggling. So she was still doing okay,
Yeah.
but they just needed some help around the house.
Just
So
being nice.
yeah, and she lived there for a year, and she was just planning for a year, but she really liked it, so she stayed for another year, and then met my dad.
Yeah.
And
Starting to make more sense now. I'm starting to put the
yes,
all
all the pieces
coming together. You
Yes,
said your dad was a really white Jewish guy, and then you told
Beechwood.
me. I'm like,
Yes,
there you go. There
yes.
you go. Totally makes sense.
Yes, and so the funny thing is that my dad's side of the family also is not from Ohio at all.
Jeez, you're all in,
They
transplants.
so
You're the only person from Ohio.
I'm literally on both sides of the family. I'm the first person to be born in Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't born in Ohio, so
and my dad's side of the family. So you thought that Beechwood was Jewish. Well, they're from the Bronx, New York.
oh yeah, so makes sense.
Of course they are.
The land of the Jews.
Yeah,
You really
for
couldn't
sure.
get more Jewish than that.
No, I mean there is one other place that's a little more Jewish.
Yes, but
Palm Springs. I'm just saying.
Palm Springs.
I'm kidding, but not really. But it's, so is your mom and dad both still live local?
So my mom lives in the Cleveland area,
Okay.
and my dad is dead.
Dang.
Dum dum dum.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dead Dad Club.
That's not
Dad
because you
Club.
came out, right? You didn't have
No.
anything to do with it. I'm just
No.
making sure we got to clarify this.
No,
Jeez, is that
he's
what?
he's been
We might as well get this.
Hey,
That was
I-
so dark so fast.
I
you're not
have
the
really
reason.
dark humor, so
I
It worked
know.
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
How
should've heard
long
me
has your
today.
dad been dead?
Jeez.
oh
I didn't
god,
go that
10
far.
years, 10 years now.
10
I
years.
was gonna say I feel like
11?
it's
'Cause he
been
knew.
a minute.
He
Yeah.
knew. He
Like,
knew.
'cause it's
He
not
knew the gate was
new.
around the corner. He's like,
Well-
COVID, gay, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I got to go.
Peace out.
Yeah.
That was it was before I even graduated high school.
Really?
Yeah,
No, right.
Jeez.
She was a baby.
I'm
That
a
sucks.
baby.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sucks.
like,
no, that's
What-
baby.
This is trauma.
Well, I
Calm
didn't.
down,
Whoa,
Thomas.
I don't
It
know.
was a sudden death.
Really?
Yes.
By
Jeez.
via what?
So we
Jeez.
think that it was a heart attack.
Okay.
We think
We think.
your mom's like, well,
Well, they were divorced.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
even
they
more
weren't together.
suspect.
So they divorced when I was like
Super sus.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so they weren't
So,
together through
yeah.
high school. Did he get along okay?
No.
Oh,
She's like, nah.
not
Well,
really.
my dad also
oh, see,
was
this
like,
is our bread and butter. Adult
Yes.
relationships that we're like, all right, let's pick that.
Here we
apart.
go.
and he also was in and out of prison.
You're
my
a Jewish
whole
guy in
life.
prison?
Yeah.
For what? I know. I was going to say it had to be the most white collar ass crowd. Like, there's no way. It's like he stabbed a guy. He was a pimp.
Nope.
No.
Financially related.
He was running
for
hookers.
sure.
Like, I'm
No,
sorry.
of course it was fraud. He was in a federal prison. It's of course.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Aw.
Welcome
like
to my
it.
Bless
life.
his heart. Bless his heart.
I like it.
Rest in peace.
All right.
in peace
R.I.P. Dad fraud.
Dad
What's
Calm
up?
down.
It's so good though.
You know.
All right. So,
Yes, I
All
know
right,
it's
let's
pretty
fast
ironic.
forward.
so we fast forward.
So you graduate
Melissa
school.
is
right?
a fantastic person.
She sounds like a fantastic
Well,
person
she
because
is.
she's
She's
having
one of my
such a.
faves.
I mean, honestly,
Aw.
you obviously went on and was very successful. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Even throughout your, you know what I mean? Your dad passing away in high school. A lot of people can't recover from that very well, to be honest with you. Shit, most people can't recover from their dad being alive and getting through high school.
Yeah. It.
I mean, truth be told. So, coming out to your mom from Brazilian, is she like a traditional Catholic lady from like Brazil?
Yeah. So she.
Yep.
Well, she is not Catholic anymore. She didn't like Catholicism and the fact that it was like just very ritualistic and
Yeah.
felt like
But
she.
she kind of had no choice growing up in Brazil,
Yeah.
I imagine. I mean, that's like one of the, I think one of the biggest,
Yeah.
actually.
And so when she moved to the United States, she found a really good sense of community in the church that she went to, and so that was part of like the Friends denomination, which is like Quaker.
Man, so you're a smorgasbord.
I am, but like yes,
religion.
it's very
Wow.
strange.
It is
and-
probably not, we're not done yet. This is
Mm-mm.
funny.
No, it just keeps
Yeah.
it just keeps going. Like it's a roller coaster.
So you graduate school, and then you go to college. I'm going to assume
Yes.
because you have your master's. So I'm going to assume you
Yes.
didn't get out on Phoenix Online. No offense,
No.
Phoenix. If you want to give us money to talk about you, we will. So then you go to college. Where did you go to college?
I went to Malone University.
And for people that don't know this area, Malone is a Christian college.
Yes, it is
Mm.
the same denomination that I just said. So it's part of the Friends
Yeah.
denomination.
So is that like Joey and Rachel and
Not. I wish, man.
that would be a way better church.
It
I
would
would
be
love that.
so,
It'd be
much
so much
better.
better. All right,
would
so you
be
go
so
to a
much
super
better.
Christian school.
Yes, and I loved it there. I went there because I moved when I was in high school. So I moved twice in high school. So it was a new kid twice. It was just not a fun time.
Right.
So I just wanted to, like, I wanted structure because I was also like a heathen in high school.
Well, your dad had street cred. I'd imagine you're like, dude, my dad's in prison. They're like, oh, he sounds tough. You're like, well, he just carried some numbers and washed some money. It wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah,
Kind of
casually.
casually. I love that, dude. Like, out of all this shit, he's like, yeah, my Jewish dad went to prison for fraud. I'm like,
Feel
Really?
like that's a pause.
that's amazing.
like, right.
Like, my dad has a born to raise hell tattoo, and he didn't go to prison. I love it.
Yeah.
Did your dad have like a super Jewish name too? Don't say it. You can't. You can't say it because
Do you want me to say it?
what's his first name?
Bruce?
That's not super Jewish.
That's
my
not
cousin's name's
super
Bruce.
Jewish.
Bruce?
Right, that's why he went to prison. I'm joking.
Bruce.
All right, so you go to
Oh,
this Christian
Bruce.
college. Okay, so at this point, like being gay, you
Oh, I didn't know I was gay
you didn't know you were gay.
at all.
Mm.
You didn't get that email.
Oh, talk about that.
You didn't get
So
that
you're
email.
in college and what?
Did it start creeping up on you?
No, not at all. Like
Were
literally,
you
like
blindsided?
I was completely blindsided by it, and I didn't know until after college. Like I did not know. Like so,
What?
yes.
Did you date in college?
So the thing about Christian schools is that there's Christian school culture, and so
We don't know anything about that.
I did not go to Christian school.
and
No.
it's wild. So
I don't. When you say wild, I
And
don't.
So I feel like it's the opposite of wild, but
It's
like
different
go ahead.
wild.
it's a different type of wild.
It's
So like
different
there's
wild.
like okay, so
yeah,
Right,
yes. It's
right.
Bible wild.
it's yes.
Bible.
Hashtag
So-
Bible wild.
It is Bible wild. So like
It's
there's
a
like
that's a water park.
so Wild Water
It's not.
Kingdom.
Bible wild.
Everybody there has a one piece or a t-shirt on.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And some
Well,
trauma.
Just a splash of trauma.
Oh,
Like a
come to
splash of-
Bible Wild. Where they just get a splash of trauma.
Some religious
It's like
trauma.
that passive aggressive trauma.
Shit.
Yes.
So like there's like so by us like we have Kent, like there's like that kind of wild, and then there's
Yeah.
like the exact opposite of wild
Oh,
of
yeah.
spectrum.
Ah.
That's where Malone is.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you're doing the whole Christian college thing, and you're just living your life.
Yeah.
You
and
grew up in that church with your mama. Things are good.
things are great. I
Normal.
loved my
You're
time
used
at
to
Malone.
that kind of like
yes.
regiment,
And
and
there like everyone around me was in relationships though. So
Did you date in high school
I
or no?
felt like again looking back on things like there's
You're
lots
like,
of signs.
Oh, there it was.
I can make the parallels now, but I was just very picky. There was just no one I liked.
Okay.
I mean,
That's helpful, right?
I
Like,
mean, I could imagine.
I don't like any of you boys.
That's
So
what I was thinking.
I
yeah.
was thinking like maybe when I go to college I'll meet a boy that I like or something.
A boy
Yeah.
with boobs. Like, I'm kidding. Boy with the
Well,
vagina.
A voluptuous a voluptuous boy.
Boy with the vagina. That's what I'm looking
Maybe.
for.
Okay.
But
That's
everyone
picky.
around me was like like every friend around me was trying to find
The perfect.
their person. So like
Okay.
so everyone had like their major. Like
Yes.
I majored in social work, but like
Yes.
everyone else, like they had their major, but they also double majored to get their MRS degree, ring by spring. So
Ring.
they
Well, hold on.
By
I was
spring.
like, what's MRS?
like misses to get married.
I
I
didn't.
catch that.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
ring by spring.
Ring by spring. Well, that's what Jake said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ring by
I didn't
spring.
realize that was a thing.
Yeah.
It's very much a thing.
ring by
like,
spring.
That's so
like
much pressure.
people are. It's like the Hunger Games out there. Like
Like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously?
yes, like
Okay.
and it is like
We need
this.
to have a film crew down there.
Like it could be a reality show.
No, it's not
could
reality.
be a
That's the
real-
problem. It could be a game show.
Okay, yes. Again, Hunger Games.
For real.
Yes.
So ring by spring, get your MRS, which I didn't know,
know.
what that was, but I like it.
You know?
Yeah.
You're right.
So you
MRS and LSW
yes.
simultaneously.
Yes. All the
Wow.
credentials, all like that's
All the letters.
that
You're right.
is like what the like typical Christian girls at Malone like they deeply desired this.
what about the men? Men as well.
Also-
in
yeah.
undergrad.
Yes.
So we're talking 18 to like 23.
Why wouldn't you? If you're raised in a church and you're going to a Christian school, it's only natural because if you want to be intimate with somebody, you're going to feel so much guilt, I'd imagine, that
Mhm.
you'd have to have like a ring on your finger to even remotely start doing some sexual stuff or be intimate with. I'm
And,
saying to
well,
feel okay with it,
So
to
but
like
at
had to
Mal-
take some of the guilt off. I'm not saying these girls weren't getting it because they, I mean,
well, the thing is that Malone, it was a very dry campus, and
I'd imagine.
and like there, so dry in the sense of
I
drinking
cannot-
and any sexual activity.
Oh shit, Mike, don't want to see you creeping around Malone over there, bud.
But there was so many rules, like you. So
Like what?
So, you could not have the opposite gender in your room.
This is perfect for you. You didn't even know it.
I know.
You totally missed the
I
boat.
missed
I was
my
gonna say you missed-
opportunity.
Holy shit! You
Like,
had
you-
it.
I know. I could have had it made. I could have had it made.
Sleepovers every night.
Yes.
Slumber parties.
You're
I
like,
could have
if
my
you would have,
whole,
if you
whole
want
roommate.
to, would you sit in your dorm room? And you're like, so if you were going to kiss a boy, how would you do it? You know what I mean? Like that.
And like
So
yeah,
oblivious.
completely
oblivious.
oblivious.
seriously, were you
through
so hyper focused on your career and on school and just like that it didn't
Or-
dawn on you?
Or on your religion. That
I was like focused on school, but like I went on dates and stuff, but
Yeah.
like I just was like I just don't feel it. Like I just don't feel it. Like I don't feel the need to get married like so soon. Like I have my whole life ahead of me. I'm so young. I can barely like take care of myself. Like how am I supposed to like
Take care of a man.
yeah.
Well, in your school, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like,
kind of part of
yeah,
the gig, right?
yeah,
I
like-
mean, I'm not saying that's
Yeah,
you
like
know.
how am I supposed to like if I'm not sure what I want, how am I supposed to build a life with somebody else that also probably
you're
doesn't
being
know what they want?
realistic. That's just weird. Why would you use realistic thought in
she's
this?
very logic minded.
Yeah,
I'm
but that's
very
good
logic
though.
minded, and I felt like the people around me there like there were some people that were like that, but it was not as common.
No,
And
I couldn't. I mean, because you're
Mhm.
taught. Like I was raised in a religious family, and I married into a religious family, and that's like the most important thing.
Mhm.
You know, so you don't want to bring shame to your family or yourself or whatever. And they do want the best for you, and in their mind, that's the best thing.
Mhm.
Ring by spring, I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but
I don't like it either, but like it is a thing. Like it is very much a thing. It's not just Malone. Like that's like a Christian college like blanket thing.
well, you have to if you want to start. You know.
Yeah.
So you had all
What,
these
if you wanna
girls
start
in your
growing
room.
Up?
I mean,
I have never heard of that.
no.
I am
Ring by spring.
I'm
or?
having like a hard time over here.
Well,
I'm
no,
like,
with
what kind
Christianity,
of
I mean, it just you have to get married. Like you have to.
by spring?
Well, no, with them it's ring
So
by spring.
spring
Because
is
listen,
like spring is like that's when graduation is. So like I need to get my ring by spring.
By 19.
Like
well,
I
by
mean
22.
right?
by 22 probably like
but here's the
like
other
around
thing:
that
you're
time.
also that school's not that big, is it?
No,
How many people are on campus?
like 1,000 maybe.
1,000. So you split it up, and if it's probably 60-40. It's probably there's
Probably.
more men than women, or more.
Probably more women than
Okay, so
men,
then
maybe?
your picking is slim, and not to be a jerk, but boys that are going to Christian school, your pickings get even slim.
Yeah.
More slim, slimmer
Yeah.
and slimmer and slimmer. So, I mean, you imagine that is Hunger Game shit.
Yeah. And I also I am somebody that definitely has a more liberal worldview.
Yeah.
So also including that I was a social work major. So our little pocket of people were great and I loved them and
You
we
said
all
you had a
like,
good experience in
Yeah.
college,
Yeah.
which is
I
beautiful too.
loved it.
But that proves that school still is doing something positive as far as that goes. That's just part of that culture. That's just one facet of that
Yeah.
culture. But there's a lot of love
Yeah.
and a lot of really good people
and
support groups and stuff there.
I did not know anything about myself.
So
I
did
not,
you fall down? And you're like, holy shit, I'm gay, or what happened?
So I
Did you
graduated.
fall down?
Well, so
I mean, she's,
oh,
listen. My mom says when I was little, she knew I loved women because she watched me watching Linda Carter on Wonder Woman when I was little, and she goes, "You were just like, oh my god, mom!" And I was little, but I was just like,
so when
Mom.
did you see boobs for the first time and you were like, yes.
well, yes. Well, so
Aruga, like that.
Well, so again, looking back on childhood stuff, I was I've made lots of connections since then. But when I realized, when I started to question my sexuality, that was not until I was in grad school. So I went to grad school in 2018.
Okay.
Graduated in 2019. I took this class, and it was there. I don't even remember how it even connected with the class, and I'm trying to remember now. We had this guest speaker person in this class, and they worked at the VA in Cleveland, and they're a therapist, and they had this super specialized population that they worked with. They worked in the VA with the queer community, so that's pretty specific. And they
Is this the first time you've ever heard of gays?
well, so they listed out all the LGBTQIA plus, and I knew I of course knew that there was
Right. Had
things
some knowledge. Right,
yeah,
yeah.
but there was things that were I went to a Christian school, so it's never actually talked
You guys
about.
didn't talk about that much.
We didn't really talk about it that much.
Yeah.
I've always been a very, very
Don't break the rules.
ally
Okay.
towards the LGBTQ community,
Yeah.
and I went to
Just empathetic and
yeah.
supportive.
Yes, and,
but that's a social work culture.
yes,
You're
Right.
probably going to do that
Like,
with most people, though, aren't
I'm
you?
here to help.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I felt so I knew while I was very empathetic and felt close with the community, I didn't really know a whole lot about how fluid your sexuality can actually be. So they basically defined all the letters, and so I was just interesting. And then I started watching Schitt's Creek.
Uh-oh.
Have you watched Have
I
either of you?
haven't, no.
So
I've watched the first 3 episodes. It was a bit much for me.
I love Schitt's Creek, but Schitt's Creek, it's so good.
I think it's on Netflix.
Not anymore. It's on Hulu though.
I got nothing.
And all of your
I
free
heard it was
time.
really
and all
good.
of your free time, Thomas.
Yeah, I know, right?
So there was an episode where I started questioning things just because I went to grad school at Case Western.
Okay.
So very opposite.
Michael's a graduate, I think, from Case Western, aren't you, Michael? Yeah, he's going to sit there and talk. We can't hear him. But yeah,
I can't
think so.
hear you, Michael.
Didn't you graduate from Case Western as well? Which one was it? Your last one. Your last one. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
So
Johns
no-
Hopkins. You guys can't hear him, but sorry. Wasn't Case Western.
another like big research school.
Yeah.
It's, Johns Hopkins is a big deal too.
Yeah, Mike's a sandbagger. He doesn't. He's like, oh, big deal.
Yeah.
Looks
I mean-
good on
wrap that
paper.
up.
Yeah.
Right.
But like literally the exact opposite of Malone.
So was that a shock?
And like it was a
Did
good
you go
shock.
online?
No, I went in person.
Did you
Okay.
feel like you found your
Like
tribe?
I loved
You're like,
it
oh,
there.
This is
my
my
God,
people.
Here
I was-
am.
I was like while I loved my time at Malone, I realized like it's so much nicer to go to like a big school that's not like
I have an interesting question to ask
Yeah.
you about this. So because you grew up in that kind of environment, in a Christian environment, do you find yourself less persecuting of Christian people than people who didn't grow in it that are in the gay community? Because I know everybody because I'm
Mhm.
just around everybody. And I notice people who didn't grow up around Christians are super hateful towards Christian people. And they're like, they hate us and they're so shitty. And I'm like, you don't know them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're blanketing them. Like, do you find yourself a little more, like, do you see both sides a little more? Like, you understand it. I mean,
yeah. Can we circle back around to
of
that?
course we can.
Okay. So, while I watched Schitt's Creek while I was in grad school, and there's this one episode where one of the main characters, David, is explaining to somebody that he was like sleeping with that thought that he was gay, that he was actually like is explaining his sexuality to this girl.
That he was
And-
with?
Yes.
Okay.
And because she didn't want to directly ask him like, I thought you were gay.
As she's sleeping with him.
Yeah. And so they're grocery shopping, okay, and they were getting
I'm
wine.
going to circle back to that shit just to let you know.
Well, so they were getting wine.
I've
like,
seen TikToks of this like snippet.
yeah. So you know what I'm
Go
talking
ahead.
about.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
So they were like getting wine, and so she was like trying to ask him like in like kind of like insinuating like, oh, I thought you only liked red wine.
Because that's a gay
And-
thing.
But
It's
well,
a metaphor.
Okay.
it's a
right?
metaphor.
Okay.
So let me finish.
I'm sorry.
So she was like, I thought you only liked red wine, and he goes like he starts realizing like kind of what like she's saying, and he goes, oh, like I understand what you're asking now, and he says like, well, I do like red wine, but I also like white wine, and maybe occasionally a rosé or a red wine that used to be a white wine, but now so like
He likes a lot of wine.
he
All
and,
varieties.
and then he says he like stops because he's like saying all these things, and he's like, I like the wine, not the label.
Gotcha.
And so in
Oh.
that moment I was like,
Oh, shit.
Oh shit. That's
Gay as
kinda
fuck.
Like,
and I was like, okay.
Gay as fuck.
Didn't it hit you?
And then it kind of like, so I was thinking about that when I like and like when I watched that scene, I thought about like that class, and I was like, I was introduced to like the term pansexuality.
yeah.
So really, like at that moment I was like, I don't know, like I'm questioning things, but I'm not sure what my like label
Right.
is.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. And like at
Yeah.
that time, like I was
I'm
like,
trying to wrap my head around it because, like,
Yeah.
for me, it's just been like, this is what I do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It wasn't.
Mhm.
I won't say it was a choice for me because I mean I can't speak for anybody else, but for me
Yeah.
it was just very
Mm.
not. You know. What I
yeah,
mean?
it's not a choice. It's like it's a natural thing, and like to
Yeah.
discover that
Mhm.
is like it's definitely a process. So like I was like, okay, then like I definitely at that point was like I feel like I'm like in the umbrella of like queer. That's what I would just say.
Right.
Like I feel like I'm queer. Then I was introduced to like pansexuality, and I was like, okay, yes, that's
So
it.
you
like,
defined pansexuality for
I
people
was
who
going to
don't.
ask her to define queer.
Oh,
Do that first.
okay,
If
so
you don't mind.
yeah,
That-
no, that's
like,
fine.
because some people they literally people throw around terms all the time, and I
All the
make them
time,
literally
yeah.
Google them while I'm sitting with them because I'm like, listen, we're gonna figure out what this really means because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and assume.
Yeah,
And you're giving me a very vague.
yes,
Not you, but the people sitting with me, and I'm like, you can't just say shit like this without, you know. So for people who don't understand, like,
yeah.
queer is pretty encompassing, correct?
Yes. So like queer is like yes, it is vague and it's meant to be vague
As it
because
should be.
it's really just
Listen,
like the
Christian's
blanket.
pretty vague.
Yes, right.
Right. The umbrella.
Exactly. It's like the umbrella. Like I would still like identify myself as a queer person.
Yeah.
But like at the time I was just like I'm just going to use queer because that's kind of all encompassing. I know that I'm not straight.
Yeah.
So
you like wine.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes.
I like that.
Not
But that's soft. You know what I mean? That's very.
exclusively
straight.
Like, it's a
Right,
very
yeah.
easy way to make people understand. Like.
Yeah. And then, so when I was introduced to the term pansexuality, I was like, okay, that fits for me because that just means I am attracted to the person, not just the gender that they identify as.
Yeah. What I had a
or
client
the
that said.
like biological anatomy.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
that doesn't
literally
matter.
does not matter.
Right.
Like,
Just the person and their personality.
Yes.
I had a client that says it's hearts, not parts.
Yes. Yes. That's
Yeah,
exact.
right,
Yes.
yeah.
Which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I
that's
mean?
like that's definitely like how
Okay.
pan.
Well, I mean, it doubles up your
Bisexuality,
dating
like-
circles. I mean,
And-
like, you know, like,
You got all the pools.
yeah, you can do whatever you
But
want.
it's also like more inclusive
That's
than like
the most American
bisexuality.
sexuality I've ever heard in my life.
You'd
Because
think.
it's like, let's do what I want.
Well, you'd think, but then
I know.
like it's
yeah.
more
Dum, dum,
inclusive
dum, then
like
what?
bisexuality.
So
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day.
there's so many
Oh, no.
There's so
subparts
many.
to this.
Yes.
So like I talked to a teenager the other day in my private practice
Okay.
that I was like, I'm a millennial. What are you?
We know we're not talking about I'm a human, okay? And I'm
Okay.
not
I'm
to be
also
labeled.
a millennial.
As we go over
We
in every
like to
show.
label.
You know what I am?
Yes.
We
I'm
like
a
to
painting.
label, and we're super understanding with a label.
Am I Generation
Like-
like X?
What are you?
I think I'm Generation X or X.
You're not. You're not a boomer.
No.
What's between
Jesus
a boomer
Christ.
and a millennial? Is that X?
I think I'm X. Generation
Okay.
X.
Yes.
Yeah.
X is. I thought
Like
that,
Billy Idol.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna ask you a favor. Can you move your chair about a foot that way? That's all I need you to do.
Right there.
Yeah, like can you
Yeah,
scoot,
like,
like,
You gotta
hop
move
up
your
and scoot
whole
the whole
hair.
thing?
He's very
Because I'm,
demanding.
yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to do this in
Right
the middle
there.
of this, but I'm feeling
there you go.
something's
You gotta
important,
be-
and
you
my
gotta be
boys
so
should have
fast.
caught this earlier, and they did not
So,
catch it.
millennials are super empathetic and
Mhm.
understanding as long as we can label it.
Yes.
Oh, you have to
And I
label
feel
it.
like
We have to label. We can understand or empathize with whatever as long as we understand what it is.
Is that part of your problem solving? Like,
I feel like it's
thing?
more of like identity.
Yes.
Like
but
identity.
isn't that
like,
what screws
We
us
can't
up?
we can't be understanding and empathetic unless we understand what it is.
Yeah.
Like just label
like-
it and then we're like, I got you.
And then like also we talked about this earlier. I'm a very logic minded person. So like
Mhm.
I wanted to like I felt like I didn't feel like I needed a label. That's why I went like I was like, okay, queer. And then like I found
Yeah.
out that pan and queer are like very like I feel like
Open.
they're like very open and like very general. And so like
Right.
I was like,
Soft.
okay, yes. And so I came out and I came out in 2021.
So right after COVID.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of downtime in COVID to think about this kind of shit?
She was like, let me think about this.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Lots
Yeah.
of time.
Listen, it was such a stressor
Were
for
you
so many
working?
people.
Yeah, I was working.
Such a stressor for people. You know what I mean? And you literally took in way more data than you would normally take in. So I made so many people I knew really question so much about their life and their family. I mean, your guys' business probably doubled.
And like
I didn't have time to think.
I
I was in childcare at that point. I was like,
well,
I gotta sanitize.
the media, it was a huge thing. Like
Yeah.
that's when TikTok like blew up
Exploded.
during
Blew up. Yes,
during COVID.
Absolutely.
And so like when I downloaded TikTok
It's
for
like
the
the
first
crack
time.
epidemic for your brain.
Yes. And
For
my
the community.
and my TikTok algorithm found out I was gay within like 15 seconds.
They're
like,
like this.
like it took me like 20
Here,
some
babe,
years.
here
and
you
it took
go.
it, like,
You're like
5
Subaru ads, like just getting crazy,
I
right?
have a Subaru.
Of course you do. It's a part of it. It's like it's your starter kit. Are you kidding me?
Yes, it definitely. Yes.
You'll probably get the new Hyundai Santa Cruz like truck car too. Eventually, that's what you're looking
Oh
at.
no, I love my
Jesus.
Subaru.
I'm joking.
I
I'm
just got my
kidding.
Subaru. I'm
Of
really
course you
proud
did.
of it.
You know, you do get a carrying card like, hey,
it.
no, listen, we can
So-
bullshit about
love,
it.
I
but
love
We
mine.
have to put this on the table.
I love it.
So
I had a
Melissa and
Subaru.
I
I also love women.
have gone toe to toe a couple times.
Oh my god!
Right?
We're getting into this.
Here we are. Here we are. Okay.
She brought you on this show to settle this shit, probably.
So
Knives come out.
I am married with 5 kids, blended family.
Yeah.
When I met Melissa, she was like, I don't feel like you're gay, but you are for sure not fully straight.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like super offended that I'm
Really?
like, listen,
You were offended.
I am like super empathetic and understanding and open-minded, but like also I know what I need.
Okay.
I mean,
And she was like, I call bullshit.
Smell a
I
little
do.
gay on you.
She was like, listen,
She's like,
you have a carabiner on your
Oh,
keys.
shit.
you have a septum piercing.
You sound like my
Look,
daughter.
I mean, look what you're wearing right now.
Hey.
What's wrong with
No,
it?
it's nothing wrong with it. I love it.
But it's not. This
It's
is not straight
That's
attire.
straight.
It's pretty stereotypical gay.
You look, she's on the borderline. I think she drives a Volkswagen, so she's like halfway there.
I do.
I know.
I do.
know.
She was
That's
like,
the
And she
bisexual
has
car.
a truck.
Do you want a Jeep?
I do. I have a.
And she has a Jeep.
Big lifted.
She has a Jeep, a Volkswagen.
Tundra.
Yeah.
I
mean,
want a Subaru
If-
Wilderness.
If it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
it's not
Listen,
always
she
a
might
duck.
just be she might just be like a Trojan horse gay. She just digs the vibe.
Well,
But
so
she-
this is what I told her.
That's
I
what I said.
was-
Like I don't
I
think that you're
was-
like fully like not like 100.
It's not
like
the
just
same.
A splash.
My parents separated when I was 3 or 4.
Are you trying to one up her? Jeez.
No. My dad lived in the country.
Yeah.
My mom lived in the city.
Yeah. So you're a hybrid.
So right,
like
yeah,
me.
like
Yeah.
it hits different.
It
Right?
does.
So I go hunting.
But you also
I
want a
have
cool little car.
kayaks.
Yeah.
I go hiking. I was like, country hits like gay. I
Right,
mean, like
but
it
you also want
does,
Doc
right?
Martens.
Like right, yes.
No, I get my kids are the same way.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
So I'm like,
I am wearing
like,
Doc Martens right now.
I
It's.
know.
I bought a pair of Dickies today.
That's what we do.
It's the hillbilly.
Did
it's
you
not
question
the gay.
it? Did you question?
like it's
Whoa, whoa. No, I get it. I get
it
it.
hits the same.
But I mean, the
though,
Subaru
on
thing
the
just kind of
surf-
goes. Do you know
on
they
the
had a
surface.
whole ad campaign just completely geared towards lesbians when they came? Like certain
What?
cars came out. Yeah, the Subaru
Really?
Baja. I'm not joking because I had a Baja, and like everybody's like, "Why do you have a lesbian car?" I'm like, "I love women. I love them so much that like."
Oh my
she-
god,
you
I
know.
want the wilderness in a real
So
big
nice.
way.
So.
I
get it.
do,
All
I
right, so
do.
you
I have
watch
kayaks.
TikTok, you bought a Subaru. Next thing you know,
Here
boom,
we are.
algorithm.
You
Yeah.
obviously have a carabiner
Mm-hmm.
on your key ring.
I was like, "Where's mine?"
I
have
do.
one.
It just makes sense. That's all it is.
It's practical.
it's
So
very
are you telling me
practical.
the gays are practical? Because not all are.
I
Some of
think the
those shoes,
lesbians
some of
are.
those shoe selection are not practical.
I love my docs.
You
man.
all
No,
have
those
hey,
are.
You all have hey dudes.
I don't have
Yeah.
any dudes.
You don't.
Stop
Do you wear
it.
Crocs?
Vans.
Yeah,
Vans.
she's just made the Croc face.
She's got Vans.
I do have Vans.
Yeah.
In a variety.
I do have.
Well,
3
my straight
pairs.
daughter wears Vans. She used to work at the Vans store, actually.
Yes.
So, okay, so during COVID, you had a little more downtime, a little
Mm-hmm.
time to sit with your feelings. You're out of school, so you didn't have the structure of that.
Mhm.
You actually became like a full-fledged adult where you get to,
Yeah.
like, spend some time alone.
Mm-hmm.
And really get in touch with yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you weren't under your parental shit. You weren't in any. You could just be a normal
Yeah.
human. So then COVID hit, and then
You and-
TikTok hit, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Well,
Yeah.
it was you and Moose.
How heavy was it?
How heavy was what?
The moment, like when you like, how?
Oh, it was. I mean, it. I don't think it was more actually like, this makes sense.
So did it take some pressure off you?
Yes,
Oh, that's amazing. That's good.
and
It wasn't
Mine didn't.
heavy.
It added pressure.
It really
it was
wasn't.
relieving.
Yeah, it was.
I bet.
It was, and I I became like very okay with it, and like it just like I never had any like, oh, like even with like my like religious background, I was like, I never had any like
Guilt.
or
You're
like
lucky.
thought,
You know
like,
how lucky you
Yeah.
are, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah, and like I never like had that thought, because while I was in a very like, I was surrounded by Christianity, I also was surrounded by people that were the type of Christians that know that like,
They're allowed to love you.
and
That's
that we're
beautiful.
allowed to
Yeah.
like that, like the God that we learned about all of these years throughout Sunday school, throughout church, throughout Malone classes, like actually says like that God accepts and loves everyone.
Right.
So why shouldn't we?
Yeah. Some people struggle with that, obviously.
Yeah.
You
So
know what I
like, but
mean?
I was really surrounded by that.
You're blessed, man. For real.
Yeah, and like I do know that. Like I
Yeah. You were given some grace for sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because most people are not, man. So you lucked up. You got
Yes.
a Subaru. People loved you. You didn't feel guilt. You
Who
were
did you
skating
come
through
out
this
to-
gayness.
Who
Holy
did
shit.
you come out to first?
Herself.
Well,
TikTok.
listen, my
TikTok.
freshman year of college, my best friend came out to me. So we were at a big party.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay.
Took me up to the attic, and he was like, Kelly,
You're thinking maybe.
I have something to tell you. And I wasted because I'm 19, right? Like, I mean, I was
I
like,
like that.
oh,
I was
okay.
19.
Like, right,
Just hammered drunk.
sweet. What do you got? And he's like, I think I'm bi. And I was like, yeah, no shit. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And he was like, I just wanted to tell you, because he told his cousin, and then he told me, and like that was it. And he was like,
Yeah.
I need to pause because I need to see how you guys receive
Yeah,
this.
the
And I
people
was
who
like,
love him.
Jake, like I mean, I can't express. He was like my brother. I'm like, I can't express the amount of acceptance I have
Yeah.
and understanding
Just
that I
love 'em.
have, that like, babe, thank you. Like, good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
this makes a lot.
Did you feel a little threatened
of
though, like you're gonna
sense.
go after the same guys?
No, he had a hard time because he had a whole like cohort through high school, elementary school, middle school, high school, of really close guy friends that he actually
His
dreaded
buddies.
a whole lot. That he was like, I don't want them to think that we have.
Yeah, that has to be hard. I
Oh my
honestly, I
God,
couldn't. As a
like-
man, weirdly enough, women are accepted as being gay way easier than men.
Way
Which-
easier.
I like one of the things, like I think something that like just doesn't make sense to me is that like, you know, like when people come out as gay, or like if you have any attraction whatsoever to the same gender as you, like it's often like the like thing of like I don't want you to hit on me, and it's like,
I hear that all the time at
and
work.
it's like,
I do, not from me,
When
like, but
I
I
thought I
hear
was
it.
straight-
People, they're afraid of it. You know what
but
I mean?
when I thought I was straight, like when I would go to a bar, like I don't want this random man to hit on me.
Normally, you don't want anybody you're not
Anyone.
attracted
Neither.
to.
Right.
Like, I
Like-
don't. That's not why I'm
I love-
there.
I don't want that.
That's my
like,
favorite thing, that straight guys that are like slightly homophobic or extremely homophobic, and they'll talk to me, and they'll be like, "Look, I don't care what gay guys do, as long as they're not touching me and I don't see it." I go, "Where in the fuck are you hanging out?
Right.
Like booty shorts at a gay parade,
I mean,
dropping
my
shit? Like who's?
God.
I go, if a gay guy's fucking you, it's because you're gay." Gay guys
Other
don't
than
fuck
that,
straight guys
right, you're
normally.
right.
Okay, that's called rape. But I'm just saying, like
Right.
if you're
Yes.
getting fucked by a gay guy,
Right.
you're fucking gay.
Yes. Yes.
Like I don't like.
well-
where are you hanging out? Because I've been all over. I worked in Philadelphia. I've worked in San Francisco. Guess what? I'm not seeing dudes just getting it on.
But like in like this rom-com movie, it's okay that like the straight couple's having sex. Like, why don't you say anything about that? Like, straight people
let's
have
pump
been
the
like.
brakes a little bit, okay?
I'm sorry, I'm a little straight phobic. Like.
Are you a little hateful towards the straights? Look, they
hard
tried to do.
a hard left.
They
at
tried
this
to
point.
do a romantic comedy with dudes, and it did not do well. And that's just because people aren't ready for it yet.
Hold on.
People,
What was that?
they just came out like this year.
Stop it, because like in my head, I'm like, Will and Grace
Mhm.
has been out for decades
Yeah.
at this point.
But they weren't showing super
love
PDA though.
Will and Grace.
And like, like I feel like it's just very more accepted to like have like, a movie with like a like romantic couple that is a hetero couple, like a hetero presenting couple, and then like if you have like but like they can do all these things, but like why is it so taboo that
Oh yeah,
like,
Brokeback Mountain? Are you kidding? That was
like-
I mean,
That was gay.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't see it.
yeah, it was. It was real.
I'm
gay.
joking. I know it's gay,
Like,
but I still didn't see it, and not because I
was-
just.
I watched it, but did you watch it?
like once a long time ago.
Same. I feel like it was a heterosexual male
Mhm.
who ended up situationally having intercourse with a male, which was a big deal.
Mhm.
And it came out, and he was straight until he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I get it.
yeah, like I
Because-
totally,
yeah,
and I totally get that,
situationally
like-
until he wasn't. Like,
No.
and I mean that
and I really relate with
rocked
that. Like,
it rocked the world.
It's like gay for
when
the
that
stay
came
kind of
out,
stuff.
right?
You know what I
Like,
mean? Like it's people do it. I
And
mean,
then
I don't
it's
know
like,
why people are
okay.
so hung up on people's sexuality. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't raised like that,
yeah,
so I didn't have that kind of like. When
And
people would be like, "I
same.
think they're gay," I'm like, "So, but I think they're gay." I go, "Are you trying to fuck them?" Because I don't understand why you care what
like
somebody's
why are you
doing.
so hyper fixated?
Well, I
on
was
it?
raised in a good old boy American family, like with military people, and they're like, "Dude, your rights are your rights, and stay in your lane." Like I have shit to do.
Mhm.
So you think I'm worried about your bits? I'm not worried about your bits. I'm not. Like honestly, dude, when my daughter came out to me,
Mhm.
we were talking, and she's like, "Did mom tell you, I like girls?" And I was like, "Honey, your sexuality is as much my business as mine is yours."
Mhm.
That's what I told her.
Mhm.
And there was many years I said, "I just want you to be loved, and I want you to love people, and I want you to be safe. I don't care who it's with."
Mhm.
I said, "I'm not asking you to live in a closet, but I don't run around screaming that I'm straight."
Mhm.
And I just, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
just live your life.
Mhm.
No one cares. You're a good person.
Mhm.
And years later, she came out to the family, and nobody gave a shit.
Mhm.
Nobody gave two shits. She's the favorite kid in the entire
Yeah.
family. I mean, she is. Everybody loves her because she's just so amazing, and everybody loves her. But I had to have a discussion with my mom. She's a, nice Christian lady, and I said, "Mom, but her vagina is none of our business." And my mom, who's a nice Christian lady, well, that's not what I'm talking about. I said, "It's exactly what you're talking about."
Yes.
And I said,
Yeah.
"Listen, it's none of our business. And if anybody in the family has a problem with her vagina, have them give me a call, and I'll walk them the fuck through it."
Yeah, because that's what they're focused on.
Well,
That's what they're focused
Okay,
on.
so I had people
yeah.
that go, "Thomas, how do you feel about your daughter? How did you feel when your daughter came out, to you and all this stuff?"
Which one?
My middle daughter.
Okay.
Okay, so when how did you feel? And I used to give this beautiful answer, similar, but it was a lot nicer than what I just said there. But it was very beautiful. Like I just love her because I love my daughters. You know what I mean? And I went through this whole beautiful answer and all this stuff. And then like a year or two later, I'm just hearing the same fucking question, like where people are like, "Hey, how do you feel when your daughter?" I go, "You've never asked me about my other daughter liking penis."
Mhm.
And the look on their fucking face is so shocked.
Yes.
Like, why would you say that? I go,
Yes.
why in the fuck would you, you're asking him, you're sexualizing my child for one,
Yes.
and it's odd for a dad. I can't speak for a mama because moms talk to their kids about sex in a way that, me, dads and their daughters, not
That's
fucking
true.
doing.
That's
yeah.
Okay,
I had
to me,
two conversations today.
you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like, I don't want to think about my daughters. Like, if they ask me a real question, I'm going to give them an adult answer and a respectful answer. But they're my baby girls, man. Like, that's, I used to joke when they were little, like, "What'd you do if your daughter's gay?" I'm like, I'm hoping they're all gay. I don't want any creepy dudes touching my fucking daughters. Like, well, hey, here we are. So, but
You win.
I correct people in a polite way, but I say something shocking,
Yes.
like, you don't ask me about my other daughter liking penis.
Yes.
So why do you think it's acceptable to talk about somebody's kid's sexuality? Being gay is, I go, it's nothing new. Now, if my daughter was fucking a giraffe, we could have a conversation. And they're like, "I have so many questions.
Yes.
Is there ladders involved? What's going on?" that's a weird thing. That being gay, it's fucking I mean, come on. Like, is it shocking at this point?
No.
Seriously? It's not fucking shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond shocking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and
Ellen's been on for how many years? Shut the
Ellen.
fuck
and
up.
oh my God, people love her.
But I'm saying, she's been on
Oh.
for so long. Okay,
We
she's a
don't
new
love
gay.
her.
You could tell she's
We
like,
don't-
oh, that
she's
old
like,
school.
oh.
But she
We
paved the
don't
way
love
for
her?
people to
Yeah,
be okay
she did.
with it.
I'll
You know what
give
I mean?
her that credit.
Dude,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like normal women that would normally be like, oh my God, you're like, you know what? She's funny.
Yeah.
She likes to dance. I like to
Mhm.
dance.
Mm-hmm.
Her hair's cute. She's got short little
Yeah.
highlights,
Well,
and so
no.
do I.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen paved
She
the
broke
way.
the mold,
She did.
man. She
like
did.
Mhm.
she did. And then like
Yeah.
what's that? I'm drawing a blank. Hold on. Queer Eye. Queer
Yeah.
Eye.
Oh
That's it.
yes.
I mean, that very much
Well,
broke the
yeah.
mold for gay men.
Yeah.
That they were
100%.
like, listen, we can be funny, charismatic.
Mhm.
and get paid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gays did a really good
All
on
of
their PR
both
team
of those
for like
things
10 years.
came out at the same time. That it's like,
Mhm.
listen, but still, it was as long as you're charismatic in the opposite realm,
Mm-hmm.
then you're accepted.
Mm-hmm.
It's
The queer, gender fluid community, I would imagine, still struggles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it takes
I don't-
everything takes a while to understand it. I had long hair as a young man. It was not acceptable.
Mhm.
Now it's acceptable again.
Mhm.
Like it's you go against the grain. Sometimes it's hard. You know what I'm not saying? But like
Yeah.
with your sexuality, like I wasn't raised that way. My grandmother blessed us to, she grew up on the West Side and. It's a neighborhood, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so there was just
Yeah.
gay
Like
people
Lakewood
around.
area.
But there would be,
Mhm.
people at our dinner that were gay, and it was like, that's Dave. And it's like, that's Dave's dude. It wasn't like, that's Dave, he's gay. It's like, we
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck. That's Dave, and that's Dave's dude, and we're going to eat some fucking ham and fucking pray and fucking and eat our shit and
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah.
And fuck off with it. It wasn't, but it
Yeah.
was so loving. So
Mhm. And that kind of goes back to like the question that was like that we were talking about, like who did I come out to? Like I think I came out to my cousin the first time of like, and it wasn't like, oh, like, hey, I'm gay. It was like,
how do you do that? It's like
I-
send
Do
an
you
edible
say? Do you
arrangement.
even-
Like, what do you do?
remember?
I think it was like, so I lived with my cousin, like around the time I was really just like questioning.
Mhm.
And so like I would talk with her a lot about it, and like she like I remember I was just like talking to her about like, hey, I'm just questioning my sexuality, and like I am just like, I just want you to know. And like, so we would just have like random conversations about things, and like one of the conversations I had, which is so funny, so if she hears this, I can't wait.
She will.
But she, like, her and I were talking, and I was like just talking about like how I'm just like in this process of questioning things, and I said something along the lines of like, and again, like I was deep questioning. I was like not sure about anything
Right.
still. And I told her like, like I think I've always just thought penises were repulsive. And she tells
So
me,
do straight women. It's okay.
and- but she told me, she was
Same.
like, she told me like,
She said
absolute-
same,
like,
didn't
she-
she?
no, she's like, like, you're definitely not straight, because like if you are like that repulsed,
Like on a scale of
The-
1 to 10, like
the-
a 10.
like a 15, 20.
Oh
Nice.
my God, is this the 167th reason why you think I'm bi? Because I'm
hilarious.
like, yes, they're gross.
This is a intervention.
It is not.
Yeah, like, well, like because my cousin and I were really close. She's like my sister.
Yeah.
So
So she's like, that's not normal.
Yeah, and she like she
Typical
knows
for
like
a heterosexual
yes,
woman. Right.
and like she knows like my previous like dating like
Mhm.
You're
history,
repulsed at all of
and
it.
I was always repulsed by it, like to the point where like I would like,
Almost hate crime. Like,
well,
I'm kidding.
I would date men, and like when it got to like a certain point, I would cut things off because I was like, things are going to start to get physical, and I do
Like
not want to
second
do
base.
that. Yeah.
You're like second base. We're done.
Yeah.
Where are your bases?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Bases
We
are
know what
different.
bases.
No.
So you know
No,
what my
they're
joke
not.
all the time was? Seriously?
Where are bases?
Because, I can't be normal.
I know.
I have to be
I know.
funny
That's
about everything.
that's why I
Because people were like, second base. I'm like, anal? Like, what do you mean? And they're like, Jesus, what's fucking home
Well,
run?
at
I'm like,
Christian school, that probably is
Yeah,
third base.
lots of butt
right.
stuff
They're
at
like
Christian
all the
school.
butt stuff because
Yeah.
then I'm still a virgin.
still a
Okay.
virgin. God still loves me.
Can't get pregnant.
What's
still a
your
virgin.
bases? I don't even know what my bases are.
I don't. Well,
First base would be
Oh.
what? Like
So first base would be mouth stuff, kissing, making
Necking.
out,
Necking.
Right. Yeah, necking. You're real Southern.
I am.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I-
second base is waist up.
That's second base?
Yes.
Wait. Okay, second base.
This is just mine.
I don't know why I was skipping
Mine.
first base, but that's probably just my personality.
Yeah. This is my bases.
Okay.
So first base is like tongue and making out,
Yeah.
more than just a peck, right?
Yeah.
Second base is top up.
A little grinding.
No, not yet.
Oh.
Hold on.
I'm asking.
Right, I know. I'm clarifying.
All right.
Third base is hands south.
Out or inside the britches?
I would say inside the britches. Inside.
Nice.
Skin to skin, but we're talking palms. Rosy
Christ.
palms and her
Okay.
5 little sisters.
Okay, so
okay?
so
Right,
some
like-
manipulation.
Yes. Home base
Yeah. Is intercourse.
it is penetration.
Yeah. Anywhere.
And I feel
Anywhere?
like penetration
What about
could be
oral
anywhere.
sex? Is that rounding third?
I feel like that's rounding third. That's
I
like
feel like that's third.
between
I feel like that's
I feel like
third.
that's
Hey,
Third and
you can tell.
home.
Hey, she went to a Christian school. She's way more advanced
she's
sexually
like,
than us.
listen, actually.
We're from
So-
the country.
And that's like where like second-ish, third-ish is where I would like stop.
Right.
Hard stop. Like
When you would get uncomfortable that you're like, listen,
When you had to
I
touch
don't
it.
wanna
When you had look at her face, she was like, "Yes."
when you had to not only touch it,
yes.
but like feel it. Because there's a difference.
Is there?
Over the clothes, you could probably do. Under the clothes, you're like, but I don't want it.
Like that Shakira song?
I don't want it. I can now feel it, and I don't want it.
Have
It,
you ever
like,
okay? Because I'm gonna assume you've had a little more experience with penises than our guest. Did you ever feel it and then go like
Hard pass.
like fuck? How do I back out of this?
Yes.
Before cell phones were really a thing, you know what I mean? And you're like,
yes, so you're
your
like,
pager's going off.
And so I never had a pager. I just talked about this yesterday, actually, with Ashley, a coworker of mine.
yeah.
I was like, "This is how you page a psychiatrist," and she's like, "Yes, I know." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know. Actually, I am 36 years old and had
So
no idea how to page something."
how do you back out? Like you're trying to back out this
you
conversation.
make an excuse?
No, see the
Tell
thing
me
is,
some of your
the thing is
Tell
that
me
like
some
I
of
would do these
your-
things like in
Uh-huh.
person.
right. Yes.
So,
tell
like,
me some of your like.
We would like I
Did you like making out, that physical touch and all
Yes.
that? Yeah. Okay.
but then like
Did
whenever
you?
yes.
She said yes. Come on.
She's
now.
not a physical touch person. That's
when
why
it
I
comes
asked.
to like
Well, I'm sure if she's at that point, she felt comfortable enough with this person,
Yeah.
right?
okay.
and I'm not somebody that like is like physical touch with like I'm not gonna like go and hug you like randomly. Like I'm not a hugger.
Like randomly? Yeah, don't do that. That's
I-
a bad idea.
yes.
Sorry.
Or not randomly.
There's a lot
like,
of boundaries that, you should cross.
You're also not a random hugger.
I don't randomly hug people. No. If clients leave and they want to hug me because I made 2 girls cry this week. It was brutal.
Oh God.
Well, actually 3 technically, but 2 at my
3?
shop.
Like
yeah.
tears.
Yeah. Dude, handing them Kleenex. I'm like dried up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was heavy. We can get into that after we're done with this whole.
I feel like you beat me. I only made 2 cry this week.
Dude, it got heavy.
I made 4 cry this week.
Ooh, normally I ask
keep
her how
cry
her
count.
week was.
Have I ever told you I keep cry count?
No.
So listen, when we do this,
Damn
I always ask her.
it.
I go, "How was your week? Was it medium or heavy?" Because it's usually either medium or heavy. So how was this week? Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It was heavy
Yeah. Not at the hospital.
at the private.
At the private.
Yeah. So mine was heavy this week.
Yeah.
I
I've had
some
a
clients
couple-
that it was real heavy. Like,
People are on the struggle bus this
Is
week.
it because it's holidays and spring and everybody wants to be new?
It's
or just
circumstantial
it
for
doesn't
me
matter?
right now.
Yeah, mine
but
were
it's just
heavy.
like shit has hit the fan, and I have had like a couple crisis sessions this week that I'm like, ooh.
Me too.
In your private practice?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
Ugh.
girl losing her shit with me this week, and her mama came in with her, and they're both getting work done, and it sucked for me because it hit me so personally because literally she was describing everything that I'm currently, going through, man, and like it was heavy, and like it became so difficult at one point. I could feel myself like it was becoming too personal for me, and I had to like walk it back a little bit because I was like, but I was blunt with her because I was like, listen, you have a good guy and everything you're saying is good guy, and you're super projecting this shit on him, and he doesn't deserve it. And I don't use the word deserve very much because I don't really believe in it. But I'm gonna be honest with you. She's showing me everything, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing? You know what I mean?
What's your goal here?
Yeah, well, it was like she was so afraid of the cheating thing, so afraid of the cheating, so afraid of the cheating, so afraid of the cheating, so afraid of the cheating. I go, has he ever cheated on you? No. And I'm like, then why are you saying these things? You know what I mean? And obviously
Just
I know
like
why.
anxious.
I know why. You know what I mean? But in the same breath, like, but I called her out because I asked her the magical question because she said her ex-boyfriend cheated on her. And I go, did you sleep with him after he cheated on you? And guess what she said?
Yes.
And guess what I told her? Then you're okay
Then
with
it's
cheating.
squashed.
Then you're fucking okay with
Right.
cheating.
Then
And this
it's
guy's never done
squashed.
it to you yet.
Blank
And
slate.
you fuck the guy who did it. But the guy who didn't do it, you're fucking mentally, you know what I mean? And like spiritually and like every other aspect in his life.
Yeah, I mean.
So I'm going, and she just looked at me. I go, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like you tell me how mine is so, horrible to you, but you literally just lied to me. You literally just lied to me and said how bad cheating was and how it's so, I'm so afraid of him and cheating. But this man the other man cheated on you and you slept with him. That's not, you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was sucked because she's going through it and she's a lovely, I mean, like a
And
really
that just
nice.
means that she's settling for, like, just her thoughts.
Dude,
at that point.
it was absolutely bonkers the amount of detail she goes in to make sure he's not doing something bad.
Well,
I mean,
it's
bonkers.
It's a whole rabbit hole.
Dude,
So
they should work for the fucking FBI. They should
listen,
work for fucking, like, they
this
should
is
use
like
those
my-
skills to, like, hunt down child predators. I'm not
Yes.
joking. I wish, because I'm going to tell you right now, what I have in my own personal shit, when that girl goes after something, she is the most badass I've ever seen in my life. It is the most amazing thing. But if it's going towards something that's tormenting her, it is equally as strong. You know what I
Detrimental.
mean? And
Yeah.
it just bummed me out because I'm sitting there going, oh
Come
my God.
on.
And I just
Right,
go,
yeah.
honey, it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? And her mom was like, she's like, and it just sucked, man. It just really sucked. And I had, like we talked about before, another client that wasn't sleeping in the same bed as her mate for a long time and was wondering why, something was going on. And I'm like, honey, how many times can I come to your house? There ain't nothing to eat or drink that I don't stop and get something on the way. It's just the way it is. I mean, it's human nature. And some guys can, and some girls can bear down with it, and some can't, I know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it gets weird for sure, man.
Yeah.
And like, okay, like in the gay community, I tattoo a lot of, gay people in my career, and I've been around a lot of people. We have candid talks all the time. I'm always surprised, like, to me, like, I understand monogamy in heterosexual relationships because of children, because of being able to, you know what I mean? Like, you want to know that your kid's yours. Does that make sense? But in the gay community, you don't have that struggle.
So that's so
technically.
interesting. Because, like, my first, like, relationship with, and, like, when I came out was, because I was, like, at that time, like, I thought I was pan. And so I was dating this person who is a trans man.
Okay.
And he, like, it was awesome. Like, I had a great experience, and, like, it was a good relationship. Like, I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Like, this is what, like all
Felt
the
more
things that,
natural.
like, all
You're
the
around in third.
What? At about second or third, it makes a difference.
But, like, even in, like, all of, like even emotionally, like,
Yeah.
the, like, things that, like, I always heard, like,
Evenly
growing up,
yoked.
like, evenly
You don't know about that, do you?
What'd you say?
Evenly yoked. It's a Christian thing.
But
I've heard about it once that they were not evenly yoked.
Yeah,
and I
that's
was
a
like,
problem.
Oh, I'm gonna have to Google that.
That's a fucking. You're like, who's eating eggs right now?
What are you talking about?
No,
That
like-
sounds like a problem.
you know, like how people get cringe, like cringe at like certain words.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Evenly
yours.
yoked is like I don't
Oh.
like the word yoked. Like I hated it.
I had never heard it until recently, and I did. I
Like,
did
seriously,
Google it.
you recently?
Actually, that I was
Recently?
like within the last 6 months.
Holy shit.
I was raised in a super conservative Christian Baptist and then Mennonite.
How have you
and
not heard of this?
I had no idea. She was like, and she was gay. She's gay now,
Mhm.
and she's like, I was told by my best friend's husband that we are not evenly yoked, and I was like, let me Google that.
Yeah.
It was that moment.
Yeah.
Since in my private practice in the last couple months,
No
I was
shit.
like, what does that mean? What
All
are
right.
you talking about? I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit! Like it's a
Yeah,
big deal.
it's
yeah.
a real deal. So people Google that shit, and you'll realize that you're
Mhm.
failing miserably in your non-Christian life. So
Absolute
you
failure.
meet a person,
Yeah.
and
And-
you're round and third. Things are feeling normal for the first time in your life.
And like even like the cheesy things that like you're told like growing up when you meet somebody that you like butterflies in your tummy, like kind of things, like
Yeah.
random
Love.
things like that. Like
Right,
Like
you're
really caring for somebody.
anxious And you're
Yes.
excited.
I
and
literally had never felt that before,
ever
Right.
ever,
for a man.
for a man, ever.
Okay.
Ever. And like things were going really well, and I remember we had this like day long like date to Pittsburgh, and it was like it felt like something out of like a fucking rom-com movie. And
They
on
go
our
up
way
the
back,
tram on the side of the fucking
We-
thing. They eat some big sandwiches with French fries on them.
we went to like this rooftop bar.
did.
Like it was real cute. It was
comparative.
real cute.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But like on our way home, we had like this conversation about like how like because like we never put any like label on anything, but like we
All about the label.
all about the label.
Oh,
But like
millennials, us fucking millennials.
but like it was like
'Cause
at that
labels
point
matter.
like it was like 2 or 3 months, and we didn't like. I was like, what are we doing? Kind of thing. Like
Enjoying each other's company.
oh, Thomas, that's so vague. Stop it.
So
And-
is a label.
Where are we going?
yeah, like
Like, what are we doing? Where are we
yes.
going? Yes.
Yeah. And
I'm okay with anything. I just want to know where you were at.
I wanted something that like
Uh-huh.
I wanted the label.
Exclusive?
Like I wanted to be exclusive. And the rebuttal to me was, well, I am non-monogamous. And I was like,
Oh,
Oh.
Lord. Here Thomas goes.
I'm not. I'm being nice. I am being like.
Here we go.
Listen, I'd
And
rather that
Melissa,
person be
you
up
said the-
front. I'd rather that
I-
person be up front and just say that. You know what I mean?
right. And I was like,
That's super
that's why.
respectful.
And
That is. Yeah,
I wish
absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish that they would have told me that before, because that was brand
'Cause
new.
now you're in.
information.
You're already
Yeah,
in.
and you know, like while like and you know, like I am very like when it comes to like the polyamory community, like non-monogamous like community, like you do you, boo boo. Like
That's not where you sit.
yes,
Okay.
and the response I got from like we had a good conversation about
That's
it. What
a
I
long
thought
drive home.
it is, and it was
It's
like
like fucking 2.5 hours.
yeah, and so like
Right.
And tolls.
yes,
We've had that conversation. Like, I can support and also not
Yes.
agree for like
My
my.
No, you get
my-
a choice.
Yeah,
but you
like,
get a
well,
choice. But
as
what
we-
sucks
as
is it's
we
almost
do
like
for
we need a
everybody.
card. Like, hey, mark these off. What are you fucking
Yes.
into?
Yeah.
And then in 6 months, can we do the card again?
Uh-huh, yeah,
Like-
it should be part of your driver's license. Like, I'm an organ donor and monogamous.
That'd be so funny. But most people, that's the problem, though. But
It-
I'll be
it-
honest, most people don't want to be. That's a whole group of people that I wish could be out of the closet. 'Cause they're not.
Yes.
yes,
They're not.
and like and I mean, he was really open about talking about it, but I was just like, I told him, I was like, that's just not something that I think I'm into.
Yeah.
And the response I got was lots of shaming and saying that like
You
he
don't
literally
accept me
told
for
me
who
like
I am.
verbatim. He literally told me verbatim because he knew about like at that point, like literally I was out for maybe 2 months.
You're brand new.
Brand
Still had that new
spanking
gay
Baby
smell.
gay.
Like
Still had that
baby-
new gay
Baby
smell.
gay.
Yes.
Yeah.
like baby
Here we
baby.
go. Right.
And so he he was the first person in the queer community I dated, and the response to me was, well, you know that like the majority of the queer community is non-monogamous, so you probably should get used to that.
That's a fair.
Oh.
Okay, but not to be a dick, but I could say the same thing about people who are married. I could say that about most straight people. It's true, and we don't talk about it enough. I mean, that was probably a harsh way of saying it to you. It wasn't probably the most kind way of saying it, but the truth be told, most people are in open relationships, just the other person doesn't know.
But like the thing is that like, you know, at that point, like again, like I was, when I came out, it was like relieving for me. So like I was like very like,
Did you feel like your trust was broken then, or you felt like? I mean, I could imagine like first relationship.
Well,
I mean, I
yeah.
remember I was 14 years old. You know
It
what
sou-
I mean?
It sounds like
Yeah.
an out and then a boundary.
yeah,
That
and
like here I am, and that hurts.
and you better just get used to it. That's what I felt,
That
and, like-
sucks.
Yeah, it's
right.
And
they,
Like,
they probably
here's
could have
the
had a better
whole
way of
world.
explaining it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Whole
mean?
world, and you have to fall in line.
And
But
he didn't
then I
even
was
have to
like-
say that. He could have just said, "This is what I'm into." And I mean, he could have had
Right.
a conversation
And, like,
about that.
the thing is that like I know that like it is so fluid, and like, you know, like every like, and still to this day know that like I am so painfully monogamous. Like
Mhm.
I
Are you
like,
the exception?
Yes. No,
In the
I'm just
gay
saying,
community?
like,
No.
like
In the community,
I mean-
are you the exception?
I mean, while I think that just people think of like people who are non-monogamous as like because the majority of like all people who are non-monogamous are part of the queer community probably.
I will say this: the monogamous part, like non-monogamous, there's such a spectrum of non-monogamous. There could be a person that just goes, "Hey, I met somebody and I want to entertain this because I feel a connection with that person." That doesn't mean they want to sleep with anybody they can.
Right.
This is like when they think of like a gay dude, they think that they'll just have sex with every dude.
Right.
Every gay girl will have like no. There's different things. Like I enjoy being in a monogamous relationship because it adds. I don't have the bandwidth. We talk about it all the time. I don't have the bandwidth for it.
Right. Same.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and like that's what I'm saying. Like I have no issues with it, like at all. It's just not for me because I don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah, 100%.
for it.
You know what I mean? I would prefer a monogamous relationship always at this point.
Like, and that's just for me personally.
Yeah.
So like, and so my response to him was, that's a very big generalization. That the like all like,
Well, they were trying to stack the deck for them.
and
You know what I mean?
yeah,
They were.
like,
you know what I
and-
mean? Like, hey, they're all doing it. All the kids
You're
are
right.
doing it, Mom.
Get used
You
to
know?
it.
yeah,
Right.
like
Get used to it.
like peer pressure type thing, and
Yeah.
like
It
it was
feels
very
peer
peer
pressure.
pressure.
Did they know who they were fucking with? Like, you have a fucking master's degree, right?
Mhm.
Like, fucking, like, no.
The answer is no.
No.
They did not know.
No.
And
Because
so
Muslim was like, hard pass.
You're
yeah,
like,
and
get out of my car.
I I really wanted to just kick them out at that point, but like I also like just like it was just like I'm not gonna like I was in my head I was like I'm not gonna let this crush me, like it's fine,
Yeah.
like because again like
And you're new into it as well.
Yes.
The relationship was new, so there was not a huge investment.
no,
And I mean, I'm sure at the time it felt like the first time you could be secure with someone, but that's still not a huge
and like
investment.
also like kind of going back to like what I was saying about like feeling like developmentally I'm like a middle school boy.
Yeah.
So like when like going like back to middle school age when you have like those week-long relationships and everyone's like, oh my god, like blah blah blah,
We're
like,
going out.
like that's kind of like how it felt though, like
That's all
because
it
I
is.
like
Hey, it doesn't change at 47, just to let you know. Same
and
shit. It
yeah,
is.
like-
It's the only difference is how you deal with it.
yeah, and so like
That's it.
I've never had like any feelings towards someone, like genuine feelings towards someone.
Yeah.
So like it was weird. So like I broke things off because I was just like, I don't like, that's not something I want. And I like,
How'd they take that?
I was gonna say, were they receptive to that?
I mean, I didn't really,
Did you give them
Care.
an option to be
I
receptive?
didn't really
to
care.
that?
Yeah.
Just kept it moving.
because I was like, I'm not going to change their mind about that. So like,
No.
what's the point for me?
No, yeah, that's pretty responsible, to be honest with you.
Like, what's the, like, I, like,
Right. You spoke your piece.
Yeah.
And like that's.
while that was like sad for me, like I was like also like, I don't want that. That's not something I want. That's not something
honestly,
I'm going
that
to.
was a huge step for you to not like bow down to that because you're afraid to tell them about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they're like, I like the hit of that crack. You know what I mean? But I don't.
Oh my gosh, using people as crack pipes.
Yeah,
We talk
so-
about that a lot.
Yeah. So it's you didn't. That's honestly that's pretty healthy.
Yeah,
Because
and-
most people honestly would have just been like, you know what?
And I think that like, I was like, in my head, I was like thinking like, okay, maybe I like maybe I'll just deal with it. But like at the same time, I was like, no, like I have been trying to just like settle all my life when it comes to relationships, thinking that like I liked one thing and didn't. Like, no, I don't want to.
That's huge, man.
And-
That is super good. You know?
And so I broke things off.
you're like next.
yeah, and I was like next, like,
Ariana Grande.
and
Fucking next.
Thank you. Next.
yes,
Yeah, and that's okay too.
and so I dated this girl, and that's when I was like, okay, not pan, just
Into
that's when I
girls.
was like,
round and third hard. Slide
100% gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very 100% gay.
Well, I had a conversation with a client the other day that was like, at the end of the day, I have a hard time because I'm like, anatomy matters. It does.
I
Like,
do. I think so.
in
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Functionality.
Yeah.
So like, what bits do you want?
Mhm.
And we were on virtual,
Okay.
and she's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I feel like it matters." And she's like, "Well, it does." And I was like, "There's ways around it.
Mhm.
Like but it's still
That's when- yeah.
ways around it. Like,
And like even so yeah, and so that at that point though too, like when I had the experience, I was like, I don't care, like, because trans men are men and trans women are women.
sure,
And that's when
absolutely,
and that's when I was like, yep, like just women.
right. Well,
It's a different
like-
thing.
Like
bottom line,
Yeah, bottom line.
physical anatomy.
So do you?
No, like even if they were born like even if they were assigned female at birth, like
Mhm.
I don't even want to date a trans man.
Do you mean a man who transitioned into a woman?
A woman that transitioned to a man.
Okay. Yeah.
post surgery,
I don't care about like surgery or not.
however they identify.
Yeah.
You don't want a masculine identifying person.
No, I like masculine is okay. Masculine's preferred.
But you want but you want their bits to be feminine.
Yes.
Feminine.
Lady
right.
bits.
Yeah.
But like also
Lady bits. You want
like-
lady bits.
also like if
What about a man who was, or a person that was born male gender that transitioned into a woman? Would that be? That's not. What am I asking, or how am I asking this?
but that's when that so remember when I was like saying like that's how I felt like I was at first, like pansexual,
Yeah.
like where like that just didn't matter.
Right.
Like
yeah.
at this point, like
You
for me
fine-tuned
it
it.
does.
Well,
like
Why
just
is
for
a
my
journey.
preference,
Right, yeah.
like just for my like this is what I'm sexually attracted to.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a client of mine and a child of mine
Mhm.
that I was like, listen, as a millennial, I need to like hone in on this and I need you to label it. I'm like, I don't give a shit what you call it.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, what do you need the bits to look like?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Both are like, I like boobs and a vagina. And I was like, okay,
Yes.
that's all I need. Like,
And-
that's all I need. Like,
But
And
this
some people
you
like
don't-
to mix it up like a potato head, right?
They don't care what you identify as, what your name is, what
Mhm.
you started with.
Yeah.
Like, but
at
logistic functionality
at the same time
is
with
a
like
thing.
the
Look, I'm on the lowest rung. I'm a straight white male, man. Like I'm not even. dipping my toes in this shit. I know better.
But then when I was dating him though, I was like, oh my gosh, like
Him
as
as a transgender male.
Yeah. And I was
So
like,
he still had the bits you needed.
yeah, and I just wasn't about it, and I was like,
So it's like the 5 o'clock shadow. Is it the presentation of a male?
no.
He
Well,
wasn't
just-
taking gender
Just was like
hormones or
Yes, he
but-
was.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if there's testosterone involved, I just don't want it.
Well,
Ditto,
but, like,
sister. Ditto.
I mean,
gotcha.
that's the thing.
I
Like
feel ya.
once you
I want a Subaru and a vagina.
Yes.
once you
Amen.
crack that door, there's such a spectrum, right?
Yes,
like, I
and,
mean, I
like-
guess that's my understanding
Yeah,
is like
that's not easy to
there's
maneuver
such
through. It's
a
not.
spectrum.
And so, like, now I'm just like, like, I was like, yes, there's such a spectrum, and that's where I was landing. And then I was like, oh, then I dated a girl for the first time, and I was like, oh,
this glove
that's what I
fits.
want,
This-
right? Yeah,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
This glove fits, right?
Yeah.
You found your
And-
So
bits for
you
your pot.
need bits and pieces to function in a
Yes.
certain way,
and then that,
and that's
like,
okay.
Yeah, and
right.
and I am like very confident in my sexuality now, and like very okay with it, and like but like my first like girlfriend, that was an experience, man. Like it was like when we broke up, like I thought like my world was ending, and
yes.
like
Welcome to being straight. It's
Right,
wonderful.
welcome.
Yeah.
Right.
but like also like going back to like I was such a baby, like,
A
and
baby gay.
like so I was like, so
oh yeah,
have you ever,
two women move like at hyper speed. Did you know that?
like, have you ever heard
Like,
of like
I
U-Haul
mean-
lesbian?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, you go
I've
on a
met
date
you. We
and-
click. Our dogs like each other, and we are moving in together.
Yes.
Yes, that's a thing.
So like
I mean, honestly,
like-
straight people do that shit too, dude.
But, like,
I've went on
it's
dates like
Not like lesbians do.
No?
no.
No, stereotypically, of course, but like,
So,
I
like-
mean, it's.
Like it. So our first date was 8 hours long.
Did you bring your dog?
it's normal.
No, the second date.
That's
yes.
normal.
Oh, they.
That's normal for me. But I'm a lesbian, so I get it. Subaru. Yeah, I get it.
And like we were not dating. So we were not dating for very long. But like I was like head over heels, and like I was like. And
Now
she
you know
broke
why
things-
guys do dumb shit all the time, because girls
Yes.
make us like crazy.
Yes.
They're amazing. They
Yes.
smell nice.
Yes.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Mhm.
They are. You know what I mean, dude? Like,
Really
I went out on
superior.
a date with a girl, and I
Far
literally married her at exactly 1 year to the day, almost to the hour that I met her.
Well,
I spent every day with her, but like 2.
so here's my question: was your sexuality at all connected to your gender?
Like my gender expression?
Yes. No.
No.
Did you?
I don't
have-
even know what that question even
Well,
entails, to be honest with you.
so-
I need a little bit of
You go ahead.
walk through with that.
So there's this whole like secondary layer, right?
Because gender expression and
Mhm.
sexuality are different.
Yes.
So wait, I have to think about more shit.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, God.
It's. I mean, the whole as a cisgender heterosexual person, it's
Man,
like
that
it
word
is
makes
like
a lot of dudes
the-
mad. It doesn't make me mad. I don't give a shit. But
It's
man.
Mhm.
a whole world.
Yeah. And so like
so
I
if you are, what do you identify? Sexual orientation?
Mhm.
Are you a lesbian?
yes.
Okay. So
Are you a
meeting-
lesbian?
I
That's
am
the-
not. I am not. I
Queer debatable.
stop it.
It's okay.
So-
It's okay.
Fight, fight,
It's, ne-
fight,
it's,
fight.
it's never too late to
I. So here's the whole thing. So
I'm
let's
kidding.
pause. Here's the whole thing. Because of
kidding.
TikTok and Facebook and whatever,
TikTok thinks you're gay too.
that's true. So a lot of people are in heterosexual relationships that are coming out as bisexual,
Yeah.
even though they are in
Yeah.
a committed,
Right.
Normal.
monogamous.
Yeah. Just because you're in a straight
And-
presenting
yes,
relationship
Yeah.
doesn't
right.
mean that you are
100%.
But like, I guess
Straight.
my thought is, why come? For me, why come out
Mhm.
if that if that doesn't resonate as true, like why go down that rabbit hole?
I
For
think
me,
I think it's just like
Yeah, I would never come out as a bisexual man if I'm not bisexual. What do you mean?
right? Yeah, like
The fuck would I
why
do that for?
entertain? I just feel like I'm a hillbilly. But anyway, it's true. So you are a lesbian.
yes.
Often, sexual orientation and gender identity are linked. Pronouns
Often, yes.
are big. Pronouns are big.
And and
Listen,
I mean,
I don't argue this shit. Listen, I
Right.
know this. If you're forcing people to call you shit that's just to be a dick, you're being a dick. I just know that. If you feel a certain way, live your life and feel that way. If you have to make it extremely clear to certain people because they're crossing over boundaries, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you have a married name and a maiden name and they keep calling your maiden name, you'd be pissed. I understand
right.
it. That's how I explain it to people.
yes.
There's a
the
fine
same
line,
thing
and the
that-
pendulum
yeah.
swings super hard. And being an older guy, and I've just seen this shit unveil my whole entire life, the pendulum swings hard. COVID was not kind to people's mental states, and it got extremely extreme.
Yeah.
Okay, and I understand
Yeah.
gender identity and all that. That's a whole nother level of
Yeah.
psychology shit that because that's extreme versions of it, correct? Well, I mean, what? Do I have a gender identity? I mean, what do you
I mean,
mean?
yeah, everyone has a gender
Okay, but what I'm
identity.
saying is that doesn't.
But you just identify with the gender that you identify with the biological sex that you were assigned at birth.
Well, assigned? What do you mean assigned?
Like,
you were born and you had a penis, and
Yeah,
they
but
were
I mean,
like,
that's-
you
it's not
are
like
a male.
give him a penis. He's assigned a penis today. I mean, I was born with a penis. So you're telling me that people that are born with a penis that still think they are more of a female? Is that weird?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand because some people literally,
Like
I get grown ass people that are like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this shit, and I don't fucking know. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try to figure it out. But to me, it's not a huge deal because it's not in my day to day shit. So I don't
Right.
really give a fuck. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not to be
And-
mean, but it's not
Yeah.
my shit.
Yeah.
What
and-
goes in your pants or in your head is your shit. I can barely figure out mine.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
here we go.
Okay.
And so I mean I identify with the gender that I was assigned at birth too. So
By circumstance.
by circumstance,
Right.
yeah, I was born a female. I identify as a female, and I also happen to like females.
Okay. But so obviously there's extremes in anything. No matter what you're doing, somebody has to just, shit all over your day about it because they got to make a point. And I'm like, okay, good job.
Right, yeah.
Fuck off with it. Okay.
Right.
What
Who
else
pissed
are
in
you
your
doing today?
Cheerios? Right.
You know what I mean? Like, go yell at your mama or your dad or whoever pissed you off because you said it all comes back to childhood shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I'd imagine, I just grew up, you're gay, you weren't gay, and if you want to fuck dudes, fuck dudes. You want to fuck girls, fuck girls. You want to fuck them both, fuck them both. I don't know. I believe in doing what, as long as you're not hurting other people or
Right.
being shitty, then get after it.
Yeah.
But past that,
That's
it's
sexual orientation.
too much. You know what I
That's
mean?
what that
It's
is,
just too. I'm just
Yeah.
dude, no one fucking cares. No one gives a fuck. You know what I mean? If somebody's getting persecuted or somebody's not getting hired or they're not getting rented to or something because of their sexuality, yes, we have a fucking problem. That's we can all agree that is shitty.
Yes.
To me, it'd be shitty if you didn't rent to somebody because they were Christian or not Christian. Or
Right.
you know what I mean? To me, it's are they a good person? They got a good tax fucking or
Yeah.
a good
Credit score. Yeah,
fucking
right.
get after it. But past
Yeah.
that, piss off. You know what I mean? Because that's real. That's tangible. You know, hey, you can kind of trust this person.
Yeah, and I think that that. Sorry, I got.
Sorry, that was making me crazy.
distracted.
I've been a sound guy forever. I'm just like,
You're
Mike,
good.
fix it.
But that kind of goes to so I have ADHD, and then
She's bouncing.
I'm bouncing, but I'm bouncing back to something that I told you I wanted to circle back
Yeah.
around to.
Yes. Oh, here we
Here
go.
are.
So, it was the question you asked earlier was something along the lines how has being raised in a religious community affected how has this been a role. The reason I'm moving to Columbus is because I just feel like I am not wholly accepted in the community I am in.
Okay, with your religious.
Yes, and
Okay.
I don't because it's not my story to share. I'm going to choose not to share the circumstances that came out about that, but it's a very public thing, but I'm just not going to talk about
I
it.
gotcha.
Because again, it's not my story to tell, but it created lots of ripples of like, oh, lots of people in my community told me that like when I came out, like that they loved me and they accepted me and like all the cliche things.
Sure.
And then
Like a normal relationship.
yeah, and like it was good and I felt really good. And then this event happened, and like I've never like while I'm like Kelly probably gets annoyed with how many TikToks I sent her, but I like I like to see things on social media, but like I'm not like posting things or like
I gotcha.
I'm not like somebody
you take
that
in
like
the data. You don't put the data out.
yeah, and
Same.
like I also like don't get like I'm not worried about like somebody like not liking my picture or something. Like that's not me.
Gotcha.
Like I don't get
Yeah.
offended by stuff like that. But I did like for the first time like really ever during like that time, I saw the people that were like telling me that they loved and accepted me saying things about what was going on in my community, saying things like
That were pretty homophobic.
that were
and,
very homophobic.
yeah.
So I was like, so while it's not directed at me, it's directed at my community. So also, that could have been me. That
Yeah.
Yeah,
situation
that hits hard
could
with
have
anybody. Like when people are talking about
me.
straight men being such piece of shit, I'm like, you know who you're sitting with right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
are you like? You can't just do
Yeah.
that shit. You know, you can
Mhm.
deal with the person that's doing something fucked up and talk about them and
Mhm.
base it on that, but not.
Yeah,
Right.
and so
That
like I would
blanketed.
see like comments and like things from people who I thought were my closest friends,
Yeah,
and
and you're like that. You're like that shit is gay. Is
like
that what you said?
I
I'm kidding.
and she, like it was just really rough, and like I like didn't realize how like deep like it hurt me until like probably more recently.
You just hit a little harder.
Yeah, and like so like it like went through stages of like, oh, like these people, like I was like thinking like these people really don't like actually love and accept me, to like, okay, I'm just not gonna like I started just eliminating people out of my life. Like
So I had a conversation with a young man today about that, and that's one thing I've noticed about young people though. They go really hard about like, cause they grew up with all these TikToks and with all these reels, and they're like, if you have somebody negative, you just need to get them out of your life. And I said, there's a point of that where you guys are going to you're going to build so many fences that when somebody needs to come in to help you, they don't know how to get in that fence.
and
Is that a hard? That's the only way I could explain it to him. Like
Mhm.
you still got to give certain people the code of defense because not everybody, from our mothers to our brothers and sisters, and like you're
Yeah.
the only child. But I'm saying,
And-
but like even your closest friends, they're not going to serve you at every.
and like that and
thing.
I recognize that.
Okay.
And I recognize that wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
But like
Did you give him a chance to correct it? Did you talk to him about it and give him a chance to correct it? Because I'm curious about that too.
yes.
Okay, because that's a different thing too. You know what I mean? Because some people are like, I shouldn't have to fuck. I'm like, well, that's not real.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Like,
there are certain people
there's-
you can be like, look, I don't give a fuck about Bill that lives
Right,
down the
yeah.
street. But there's people that you deal with in your day to day that
Right.
Mhm.
you have to give them a chance to
Yeah.
correct it or tell you to kick rocks.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
this
like
offended me.
Yeah.
This hit different.
like again like I'm gonna be talking very vague for the next like
Sure.
part, but like because I don't, again, like it's not my
Right.
stories to tell, but like it was getting to a point where like because I like up until like that happened, like it happened like October 2021,
Okay.
so like right before I started a new job that like I love, and like so I was like on this like feeling like really good, like I was like on this high, and like that just made that dip, and so like it was like a year long like just downward spiral that just
Right.
like happened very slowly, but like also like it felt like very dramatically at the same time.
Mm.
But like there was a point where like because I was going to church at this time, and at a church that like I still love the people there, and I love
Yeah.
like the community there, and there was a point where like I was just sitting like in my spot that I sat out on every Sunday, and I was just thinking,
Do they
like,
have a section for you guys?
for
I'm kidding.
well,
For the
I-
community.
All the gays got to sit over there. All right.
We'll
No.
love you in spite
We don't want to
of
catch it.
sitting
We
over
like
there.
you here, but we don't want to catch it.
Well, I was thinking, like, well, if you are willing to talk to me and support me behind closed doors, but you're not willing to support me from the pulpit,
It's a little miscommunication.
it's
huh?
a big, it's
Talking
a big,
out both
yeah.
sides of their mouth.
Big red
And so, like,
flag,
I
yep.
Yeah.
I was sitting in, I was sitting in my spot, and I was just like thinking, like, man, like, I love this community, but like, again, like, something I desire is like a monogamous relationship. I want to get married.
Kind of Christian value
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff. I
like,
mean, we could say
yes.
it. You know what I mean? Like,
Like,
that's not
just
that.
because
you
just
know?
because I'm gay and I like women, I do want that monogamous relationship. I want to get married.
Yeah.
I want that life for myself. So like I was thinking like one day like how like and like this started like a really like deep depression of things. Like I was thinking like, man, like if I find my person, I'm not going to be able to get married in this church because I know that they won't marry me.
Wow.
So
See, I think that's what a lot of straight people don't understand is like the little things that you don't think about in a day to day. I mean, they think about gay, like, what's the big deal? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's a dick or a vagina. I mean, like, let's just be blunt. But they don't realize, like, the accepting of, like, I had a guy who I tattooed a ton, and he told me about his story. Because, you know, you get to know somebody, and I'm like, hey, when you came out, and, you know, he comes from a very affluent family, extremely affluent. And he came out, and they just weren't, you know, at first they were okay, and then it fucking boomeranged back, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, we thought about it. You know, we're not fucking cool with it. So
Right.
anyways, we were talking. I said, so if you, like, ever, like, taken your dude home for, like, a holiday? And he's like, oh, God, no, that's not accepted. And I was like this. I was like, what? And it broke my heart because he's, like, a good man. You know what I mean? And, like, you'd be proud to have him as a son or as a brother or as, you know, whatever. But then it broke my heart, and I go, that sucks. He goes, but they're not horrible people. They're super loving people. It's just
Yep.
part of their,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
ingrained in them. But fast forward, he was having an issue with his mother. You know, they're having an issue, and the dad's like, you need to make her feel okay. He goes, I need to make her feel okay? I can't even bring a dude in here. And his dad goes, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't bring a guy, you know, your dude here? He's like, whoever told you that? He goes, you fucking told me that. And his dad had a moment and was like, oh, my God.
Right.
And they've since healed from that.
Yeah.
It was beautiful to watch because, you know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. That was one of the first moments where I really, truly understand it because it was years ago where I was like, I've got it so lucky in so many aspects that, like, I could literally bring any woman home, and my mom is just a nice lady. Now, later she might be like, honey, is that lady okay? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Is that
she
your
would still be like,
forever
are you
person?
hungry?
Right,
Do you
yeah,
want to,
right.
Yeah.
you know, I could, like, it's Easter tomorrow. You know, I mean, I'm cooking, but, like, normally I would have went to my mother's when I was younger. She wouldn't have cared. I mean, like, I could probably bring some crazy
And, like-
hooker. I mean, literally, I could take a hooker to my family's, and my stepdad would just give her shit and be hilarious.
And you know, like my family that I do have here, because I don't have a lot of family here.
Right.
I have my uncle, my aunt, my mom, and 3 cousins.
Yeah.
That's who I have here,
That's your crew.
and they are super supportive. Like
Yeah.
there's no issues at all. But since I have a smaller family, like friends are like family for me.
Yeah,
like they're
you
the
grew
chosen
up with
people.
them. Yeah, 100%.
You know, and so like when I live in a community where this is happening, and again, like it was this like downward slow spiral of like things that because I decided first like I'm just gonna take a break from church because like I
Yeah, you're not
just like
comfortable.
I'm just not comfortable right now. I just need like to take time to like just deconstruct some things and like
Think about it.
think about it. And so when I like that month turned into 2 months, 6 months,
Yeah.
year. I have not like, and I recently went back once, and it was a really good experience going back. I just again like I felt comfortable, but like it was just not like a like I felt comfortable, but at the same time I didn't. Like not around the people I felt comfortable around. It was just more of like the deeper stuff, like just like the logistics of things. Like I still like revert back to like that thought of like,
That's
oh my gosh,
hard.
like if I found my person, I wouldn't be able to get married here, and like these are the people that.
But
like,
those are real questions.
mm-hmm.
You know, those are real concerns of you because, like, you were based in that faith and you're
Mhm.
based in, like, this is the kind of
And-
order we do it. You're trying to get ringed up by springed up. I get it.
And also, but like how you're talking about, like how, that guy said like that he told his dad like, but you did tell me that. Like I've had conversations with
They didn't
people
realize what
in
they
the
said.
in like in the past, like when I was currently going to Malone, and I had people like tell me like straight up that like they would attend a gay wedding, but they would never do it. They would never. They would never
Officiate it.
officiate it. So it's like,
That's hard. But think
It's-
about their struggle too. And I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but I try to look at everybody's
Oh, yeah.
perspective. And if
Right.
they feel like they're not doing what is
Mhm.
God's will in their heart,
Mhm.
because that's a personal.
yeah,
You
and
know.
so
it's hard.
and
right, for
like
sure.
I mean, the book isn't super warm and fuzzy.
and
It's kind of brutal.
and you know, like it's also like, I mean, this could be a whole another podcast in and of
right.
itself,
Another
but like
episode, right?
like
Look, I don't need
They're-
Westboro outside picking at us. Okay, come on.
but like also like there's this lots of like like I'm very like I have like this education that is from a Christian university. I have taken theology classes. I have done lots of research.
Right, you didn't
like,
just get Bible
I d-
verses on TikTok.
Yes. And
Right.
like I didn't just like when I said like I took a break to deconstruct things, I was like in deep like
You went
dive
deep.
of like what does the Bible actually say about this?
Yeah.
The original Bible or
The
which
original
version?
Bible.
Which
The-
version?
Because
Yeah,
the word homosexual was not in the Bible until 1946.
we did a lot of shit in the Cold War. Just to let you know, we did a lot of God shit in the Cold War that really freaked people out because it was just it was easy and it made
Right.
people,
I was
you
gonna
know,
say, well, that's weird because he wasn't here then.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Right. And so like
Well, even in God, we trust on our money around the same
Right.
time. But it was in fear because they literally told us. I mean, it's corny as it sounds, but it's because we were told Russians were communists and they were the devil. And this is us to unite us. And it's so corny, but the ripple effect of these good
Yeah.
decisions,
right.
these united decisions back in the day, turn into total fuckery 60 years later, 70
Yeah.
years later.
And like that total fuckery is like on like again like it's like kind of comparable to like how things have been like for my life recently. Like it's just like all like again nothing has and like I will be the first to say like nobody has directly said anything to me. Like nobody has said like
Right.
I have not like I have not been like persecuted myself. I have not
But you know
been
what they're
told
doing.
any and
But
like
you know what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're saying it to you. If I say I love women, but I walk past this thing and go smack a woman, you're not going to be like, oh, but he ain't going to hit me.
right.
It's, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're smart enough to know that this is going to,
Mhm.
the fact, even the simple question of, could I get married here?
Yeah.
Then why in the fuck am I here?
Right.
I mean, that's as simple as it is.
Yeah.
Like if
and-
I want pancakes and I'm somewhere that doesn't, like, why in the fuck am I here?
Right.
I want pancakes, so I'm going to go get fucking pancakes.
yeah,
And, you
you're
know,
not gonna if you want pancakes, you're
and
not gonna go to
you've-
Waffle House.
And you weirdly dedicated your life to
Mm-hmm.
Christianity. It sounds like, and you've been involved with it. You went to a Christian college, and I'm sure there's you got
Mm-hmm. and
good
I
grades.
grew up
I'm
in
sure
that
you
same
could,
denomination.
so it made
like- Mm-hmm.
sense. So I can imagine. It's like being in an Orthodox religion and trying to break free from it. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
but if you leave, you can't talk to your mama no more, and if you leave, you can't see your brother and sister no more. If you
Yeah.
can't, you know what I mean. So like if you leave this church, you're gonna miss all these people that you
Yeah.
grew up with and you love,
Yeah.
and they love you.
And so
But
like
but then does it ripple and fuck with your head because you're like, then how can you, if you support them, you can't support me, which isn't the case.
and so that's what like that's where like my mindset was. Like I know that like just because I don't want to be in like the four walls of the church doesn't mean I don't want anything to do with the people I know.
Yeah,
And so that's when that's when the deep like it was like a slow downward spiral and then it went because it got to a point where I was like, just because I am not in the church and you don't see me all the time anymore doesn't mean like I don't want anything to do with you. And I was like reaching out to people and like wanting to hang out with people, but like I would always get like, oh, I'm busy, or like, oh, I'm doing this, and
It's
then
kind of like working with people, though. You know, when you work with people and they seem like your best friend, but when you leave the job, they just, it's weird. You see them every day and you eat with them, you talk to them, and you think you're close to them. And it might be similar to that. You know what I mean?
I was like very, very close. Like, I mean, churches are generally pretty cliquey, and like I was like,
what?
Whoa,
Get out of here!
And so like I was like,
what's not?
I
cliquey,
was
though?
very close with like lots of the leadership. Like I was like,
oh, you're the in kid. You're the cool kid.
And so like it was, I realized like, oh, I'm initiating all these things, but I'm not getting invited to anything. I'm trying to put myself out there still, but I'm not getting it. Like I'm
what
like
you
out
used
of
to get
I am
before
out
you
of
came
sight,
out.
out of mind to
Yes,
people.
right?
And like even like I'm not gonna continue to put all this work into something that is not being reciprocated. So now it's like I don't even talk to people anymore.
Well, I mean, if it's based on your faith or it's based on friendships, these are two different things, correct?
Right.
So you mean understanding that, but you're combining the two because they've always walked next to each other, right?
And then
Closely
I
next
try
each
to,
other.
and then I would try to separate them, but
They can't.
They can't.
They can't. Well, no, because they're afraid of going to hell.
Yes.
I mean, I'd be an asshole, but like you're not combating with like, man, I kind of like that player on the Steelers. I think I might get him for my fantasy league. But like, we don't like the Steelers, but like, man, that running back's really badass. My friends aren't gonna be like,
yeah.
But like, if they do it, they're like, if I do that, I'm not going to hell for
Right.
eternity.
It-
You know what I
was gonna
mean?
say, it's
Like,
eternity.
Yeah.
you know
That's
what I mean?
what's on the table.
And I think like I realized like just a couple months ago that like because I said something to my therapist once and I was like and I realized like how like depressed I was like oh and because of like this whole social situation the only time I feel really good and like very like emotionally stable is at work. What do I do for work? I do suicide risk assessments all day.
So you're taking them shit so much bigger than yours that you can't even concentrate on your own shit.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
And so like not like so when I'm at home I'm depressed and then when I go to work I work with depressed people. But I love that.
Well, no. Why wouldn't you love it? Listen, when I listen to people's shit every day, it makes me think how great my life is. It reminds me of how like, well, I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm doing better than that.
Right. Comparison is a real coping skill.
It has to be, man. But that's a realistic thing, you know. That's gratitude. That's
Right.
That's,
it feels icky, but it's real.
And like, you know, like it's weird because like even though like the people I work with are in active crisis, like it's also like I have been in that spot before.
Yeah.
Like when I was a teen, I have been in the spot that the teens I work with are in. And like right now I'm just like my like personal life is like weirdly similar. So
right. Well, it's human
like,
nature, right?
Yeah. And so like
I mean,
it's
I'd
like,
imagine being a therapist, you guys all probably go to therapy, right? Most of them?
A lot of them. Yeah.
You know, but
It's encouraged when you're in
I
school.
could only fucking imagine. You know what I mean? Like
Emotional sunburn is what they call
it's
it.
a lot. Like my problem was that I would hear, I'd hear all these crazy stories, and I would talk to people and just be as open and and helpful as I can, or just listen. I mean, really, most of it's just listening. By the time I got home, my girl would be like, "You never talk when you get home." I'm like,
right. Where are you at?
I'm kind of fucking wore out, man. And she's like, but if we were out somewhere and a story came up, and she's like, but you'll just share the story. I'm like, yeah, but it was brought up. And I'm like, oh, that reminds me of this. But when I'm home, I don't want to bring that shit into my home. I've had some heavy, heavy shit going, and I just did not want to bring that in there. And like, I learned to get better with it because that's what she needed, but I wasn't great at it, to be honest with you.
And like, so I realized like, like it's really strange because like, when I was realizing those things, I was like very equally like the depressed I was like at like one of the most depressed I've ever been, but like also at like the most like peace and confident. It was very weird.
Well, you were going through a mourning. You were losing something, correct?
Yeah. And then I was also like very okay with myself, and then I was like, okay, like
I got this.
I am at the point where like I don't like I do feel like I deserve to like feel okay, not just at work.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, and knowing that you're okay, and like even with the faith thing, I'm not a religious man anymore. You know what I mean? I was raised in it hardcore, and it doesn't resonate with me, and I can't fake it. I refuse to fake it anymore. I don't even like entertain it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I understand it because I've been around so many religious people, and the guilt, and that guilt is next level shit, and it is hard to get away from. And that sense of family that a church has, but that's like the poison of it. That's like a gang. We are you got. We are what you have. You are our people. You are chosen. You were chosen. I mean, it's like mind fuck 101.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think I couldn't start a spiritual learning center? I could. You know, I could lure them right in. I could tell you all the magical things. I could. My mom thought I was going to be a preacher growing
Like you are broken. This is what will fix you.
Yeah, we accept broken people. Well, that's convenient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no shit. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's like, I'm just not into mind fuckery like
and like
that.
the things that you think are broken, I find beautiful in my life.
Right,
Well, I mean, just the bottom, like, I've always, because you said you're logical. I'm weirdly, like, it has to be very extremely logical. And some of the shit for me is just so baffling where I'm like, you know, don't hate the sin, hate the sinner, or don't hate the sinner, hate the sin, you know, and all this shit. And I'm like, so if God gets all the glory for everything, then how in the hell does he hate gays so much if he made you?
Right.
If he doesn't make mistakes, then what the fuck? You know, like that's where I find the holes in it. I'm just like, well, you have to have faith. And I'm like, okay, we're going back to that shit. Like, that's my truth. And it's like, well, I just don't fuck your truth. That's your truth.
Yes.
And take that shit somewhere else because I'm not fucking with
You're
it.
preaching to the choir here.
Right.
Like,
you know what I mean? So at the
know,
end of the day,
like,
but I see that trauma that you're going through and feeling the loss of community and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't understand that. So if you are people out there, if you are a church leader or you are a church like parishioner and you love people, then truly fucking love them and maybe hold your leaders accountable for their shitty behavior. Just saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't understand how you can break bread with somebody and love them and say you love them, but allow your leader that pretty much leads your spiritual, journey, because you give it to them for some weird fucking reason. You allow them to persecute people. You know what I mean? And you know, when they wonder why their churches are going to be more empty every year, like they've become, because I follow them.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to wonder why, because people have had enough of the bullshit, you know, and you guys can be mad at me if you want, but love is love, man, you know, and like, and understand there's certain things, like you're not going to get a Catholic priest to marry you. There's no fucking way. No. You're messing with thousands of years of, you know, and that's, but you know that.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm like at the point where like, okay, I'm okay with it. But the thing is that in the community I'm in right now, that is just not something that like okay, I either am going to settle and just be with these people that will think one way, or like I'll go find it somewhere
I mean,
else.
truly, you never know what people are fucking thinking. But if your leadership is blatantly saying it, that's a different story, correct? You know what I mean? If they're saying like, look, we don't marry gay people here, then I don't have a place here.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that fair? That's simple. You know what I mean? Then you don't really accept me. You know what I mean? And that's an easy. I mean, it's not easy, but
and
you know,
like I chose Columbus because Columbus is very, very affirming and accepting.
there you go. Go where you go. Where you know, I mean, because honestly,
part of it.
yeah, you have to go where, like, if you're into a certain thing, you kind of got to go where you can't just make everybody accept. Like, I don't care what you're into; it could be anything.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a long road. Good luck. You better be a real charismatic motherfucker and have a lot of influence, because if not, good luck. You know, and that's a full-time job that most people do not have the discipline to do.
Right.
You know, especially with churches, man.
Yeah.
Dude, church life is very interesting to me. It's very, I was obsessed with cults when I was young. I would read about them like crazy, and then it all just kind of went, and I was like, oh, it's kind of like relationships, you know, what people think a relationship is, and then you look what codependent is, and they weirdly kind of mimic each other. You know what I mean? So when I look at cults, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I understand people want to feel worthy. Like, even being gay, some people have to scream it from the rooftop because they want to feel worthy. They want to feel special.
Yeah.
And the same thing with a
They
church.
want
You
a
want to
sense of
belong. It's a gang.
belonging.
It's a gang. It's all gang shit. And like me, I never wanted to belong to shit. You know, the gay gang. So, dude, my friend that I was telling you about, his therapist, I go, how's therapy going? And he's like, man, I don't think I'm going back to her. And I was like, what happened? He goes, everything's about gay with her. She called me a homophobe. And I was like, what? He goes, well, what are you into? And he's like, oh, I'm into this. He goes, well, like he's into riding motorcycles. She goes, well, have you found, like, looked and see if there's like a gay He's like, why does everything got to be fucking gay with you? Can I just ride my motors? Why does it got to be fucking gay? And she said something like, well, what kind of guys do you like? He's like, I don't like feminine guys. And she's like, what? He's like, I like dudes. I'm gay. I want a dude that looks like a dude shit. If I want to fuck a girl, I'd fuck a girl. And I was like, oh my God. I'm just like tattooing going, holy shit. But he was so real about it. You know what I mean? It was funny, but you got to go where you, dude. It sucks that you can't, but dude, not to be a dick, we're in the middle of America here. You're not, like, you go to San Francisco, they don't give a fuck. Go to Philadelphia, they don't give a fuck. Go to a big city, Toronto, they don't give a shit.
And
be
that's
gay.
exactly what I'm doing.
That's what you have to do. You know what I mean? Like, I play music. Guess what? I moved back to West Virginia for a couple years to tattoo when I turned 18. I went down there and I was like, so where do you guys play music at down here? And they're like, what do you mean? I go, no, like, where does bands play? Because here I'd go see bands 4 nights a week. And they're like, well, I don't know. I go, where do bands play? He's like, well, every once in a while Billy has a party. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And that shit lasted for me for like a year. And I was like, and people go, why did you move back home or back here? Because that's my home technically. Why'd you move back? And I go, they had no music scene. They're like, that's why you moved. I was like,
yeah.
If you met me, like my whole entire, like, that's my thing. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck that. I'm not staying. And even today, it's gotten a little bit better, but not even close to here. You know, and I was like, I'm going to play at Billy's party every 6 months. Like, shut up. So it's like you. You know what I mean? Like, go somewhere where you're wanted and accepted. And that's what you should do.
And, like, you know, like, not only is it, like, wanted and accepted, but, like, I feel like it's like it's what I want because it's normal. Like
for you. I mean,
like,
but it's normal. I'm just saying, like, it's and that's what, like, I tattooed before it was cool and it was not accepted, and I was heavily tattooed before it was even remotely fucking cool, and I couldn't just go anywhere without catching shit from people.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to a flea market one time, and this old man, I'm just minding my fucking business, looking at cool old shit. You know what I mean? Him and his buddies, like old dudes, sit around and drink coffee and talk shit. And I probably will too with these guys. You know what I mean? One day. But I walk by and he's like, you think you can get a girl with all this damn shit all over your arms? I said, I don't know. Ask your wife. And his buddies were like, oh shit. And I was like, yeah.
Right.
But, you know, I grew up in a tattoo
quick,
shop.
right,
You know, my dad was a fucking truck driver. You know, my stepdad. You know what I mean? Like, my mouth is horrible. You know what I mean? And, dude, and I will fight you. So let's, there's a lot of shit on these tables I can hit you with, sir.
Yeah.
And I will grab all of them. You know what I mean? But you can see his buddies are like, oh, shit, he didn't take your shit. I was like, but I knew it. But guess what? There was times where I would wear long sleeves. There was times that and people, you shouldn't have to. Yes, you should. If you don't want to deal with shit, when I go to the mall with my kids and my grandkids, you wouldn't know that what I do for a living. You wouldn't know that I played him. You go, he's probably a tech guy. He probably drives a Subaru. You know what I mean? Like, you would think, like, he's probably, got a lot of minimalistic shit in his house. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't, but that's that growing up in Southern Pentecostal. Like, you don't want to be outwardly too crazy. No, no.
That draws attention.
No.
Right.
And honestly, not just that, I don't have time
to explain?
And put fires out.
Right.
Like, I don't, like, if you don't want people to fuck with you because you're gay, don't be running around screaming that you're fucking gay. I might be into certain weird sexual shit compared to some other people, but I'm not wearing a fucking shirt about it. I'm not wearing there's a reasonable thing. I understand. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like, I heard a comedian say it the other day. He's got a podcast, and I listened to him, and he said he got irritated, and he resonates. He's a little older than me, so it resonates well with me because we grew up in the same kind of men raising us. And he goes, anybody who has to tell me what kind of who they are, I automatically assume you're a fucking asshole. If you got to tell me you're a Christian, you're a fucking asshole. If you got to tell me you're a Democrat or a Republican, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah. And I've been thinking this, and I've been just like this because people are like, I'm blah 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 blah. I'm like, no, you're not. Shut the fuck up. Nobody fucking cares. Be a good person.
Yeah.
I don't care what letters are behind your name for political party or your sexuality. Are you a good fucking person? Are you reasonable to get along with? And fucking start there.
And I agree 100%. But I think, like, when it comes to, like, like I want, like, when I say, like, I want the acceptance and, like, affirmation, I mean it in the most mundane way possible.
No, you seem, there's no way.
I
Yeah.
want to be able to like
Get
walk-
married.
that. I would like to be able to walk down the street to a coffee shop holding my girlfriend's hand.
Normal shit. So I have
Like-
another gay client. He was telling me one time. I go, hey man, how was your summer? I always ask people small talk. He's like, oh, we went camp and there's this gay campground. Blah blah blah. I'm like, why has it got to be a gay campground? Like in my mind, like I'm like, what?
Right,
It's a
'cause it
fucking.
has
You're
to be.
camping. Like what the
Right.
fuck? Like this is a gay thing. But I'm so removed
Mhm.
from like homophobia that I'm like, what the fuck? What? And he goes, Thomas, there's been gay campgrounds since like the 40s. And I was like, you got to explain this to me, buddy, because I
Right.
don't.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Pause.
I
What are
don't.
you talking about?
Yeah, and he
Right.
goes, well, think about it, dude. If I was holding hands with my dude because we like to go fishing and we like to do normal dude shit, and some good old boys or just somebody that just has a
Mhm.
adversity to
Yeah.
homosexuals, he goes, they might have a few too many beers and drive their truck over or a car. I don't want to say truck because it makes it sound like I'm talking about people from certain places over our tent
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
kill us or light our tent on fire with us in it. And I was like,
Right.
again, I
Never even.
I
thought about
never
it.
had to think about that. And
Like
as
it's even like the like super simple things like the weird stares or like the like it's just like those very
straight people get
mundane
weird
things.
straight stares too, okay? No, I know what you're saying, but to feel comfortable in your skin
Like-
and your safety.
Yeah.
I mean, safety 1st.
Right.
But, like, I
it
get
comes
it.
down to safety.
Well, then if-
oftentimes.
Yeah.
Which hits a little different.
Dude,
Mhm.
listen, I've never had to, when I have people that are being homophobic, I go, imagine that every time you held a girl's hand at the mall, you could get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a heavy, like, and is it that extreme everywhere? No.
Mhm.
But there are, I could find a lot. We
Yep.
all know stories, of guys getting drugged
Right.
behind trucks and
Mhm.
guys get, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I understand it. You know what I mean? But you also have to go to a community that's fucking okay. You go to the middle of America, no, that they're not down with that
No.
shit. So I don't like,
Mm-mm.
dude, I've played in bands all over the country. Guess what? I've tattooed all over the country. There's certain places you don't fuck around. You go in and get your fucking gas, you get your shit, and you get the fuck out. You don't say shit. You just
Right.
fucking
Yes.
keep it moving. Because guess what? It's like that all over the world.
Mhm.
It'll always be like that.
Yeah, like so during the time I came out, I was living in a rural town in Ohio, and that's around the same time like I had my first girlfriend, and like whenever she came over to my house, we lived in rural Ohio where people were very like
Everybody knew
very
everybody.
outspoken about like their Trumpiness.
Ah.
Oh.
Mhm.
So like
Well, most people are. Most people are outspoken about all their shit right
Like,
now. We love to wear it on their fucking chest.
Like I lived on the street where there was like so many like MAGA flags, but like I had a neighbor who had one rainbow flag up and it got torn down and ripped in front of their yard. And it's like, so you can
Right.
be all outspoken about your
No,
thing.
that's human error. You
and,
know
like,
that. That's human error.
yes,
Not to be a
and-
dick, but that's you pick anything.
Mhm.
I could talk to the guys about guitars, and there's guys like, no, I don't fucking fuck those,
Yeah.
those, and I'm like, what? That
Yeah.
doesn't even concern you. I'm not making you fucking play
Yeah.
that. Like, shut the fuck up.
So I was like, you know what?
So you felt attacked.
Like
You don't feel
we
safe.
got out. Like we got to get out. Like
Yeah.
like I'm not
Gay
gonna.
pilgrimage.
Yeah.
I like it. You
Yes.
are Jewish. You're just leaving.
Yes.
You're just
Yeah.
across the desert.
Yeah. Like I
You think you'll go back and reclaim it one day?
Well,
We're
there's a
taking this back for the gays.
So there is like this so there is this YouTube video that went around about like this pastor in some kind of southern state, and he was like he had the solution for homosexuality.
The
gay-
solution to
yes,
fix it?
Okay. So
Oh.
listen to this, and I was like,
I need to know this
okay, so this is the solution.
in case I don't want.
Obviously,
You
a
put all the
problem.
lesbians in a fence,
Like a concentration camp.
and I was like, sign me up.
That's
Like-
Right, yes,
like,
right, yeah.
You're telling me you're gonna put me all in with the lesbians?
Right.
You
don't-
had that,
You don't need
but
a
listen,
gaydar anymore.
Listen,
Yeah.
You're like,
Melissa, you
if
can't
you're
be
Sign me
trusted.
up.
right,
Melissa,
yeah.
you can't be trusted. You were already locked down with a bunch of girls, and you didn't take advantage of. So I don't believe you. I know you fucked up. You done fucked up, and they were young and like they were figuring
Missed
it
your
out.
opportunity.
So that's how you fix a lesbian.
literally like it was like a.
So are you considered? Would you be free
Just put
range
it in
lesbians
it,
at that
just put
point,
them
or
in a
not?
sex camp is what that is. A sex camp.
Literally, like this is an
We don't
actual
condone
video.
that.
Thomas is like, yes.
I'll
no.
show it to you.
No, God, no, no. Come on,
I'll show
man.
it to
I'll show you the video.
Jesus,
Oh,
that guy
geez.
sounds like a party. I look.
It was said at church, I think too. Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in.
I'm
Say
in.
no more.
No, I'm in.
I'm in. I volunteer. as
Listen, I love
tribute.
it though.
Yeah.
I love when people do that. But here's the beautiful thing. So I try to find a positive in every single little thing. I really do. I try to
Yeah,
find
that's
what's
what I
good to
was
get
saying,
out.
like,
Okay.
sign me up.
But look, all these flags in people's yards and everybody putting shit on their stickers on their car, it makes it so easy. You don't have to guess. It's the people you don't know. And that's the people that are unsuspecting. You know what I mean? So I don't know why we concentrate so much on what flag you have hanging, good or bad, whatever side you're on, because they're both asshole flags. I'm
Right.
sorry. They both are. Nobody cares. Nobody cares who you fucking vote for. Nobody cares who you're fucking. And if you do, you need to look in the mirror and figure that the fuck out.
Right.
But I love
Agreed.
that you don't have to guess now. Like, if you got a fucking crazy flag at your house, I don't have to guess what kind of person you are. You're problematic. I just keep going back to it. You're fucking problematic, and I don't want to fuck with you. You know what I mean? Because it just, why? Like, you're not doing God's work. You're not doing your own work. You're just being a fucking problem. You're being a loud ass problem because you think obviously your parents never hugged you, or they hugged you too much, or whatever. Yeah, show me in a doll where they fucking touched you. I mean, like, whatever in the fuck. I'm not making light of that, but I'm just saying, like,
There's a reason.
we keep going. It's always the same shit. Whatever you didn't get as a child, you fucking. If you weren't important, I was important my whole fucking life. So I don't fuck off with that. Like, I don't want anything. They're like, oh, this guy's the guy I need to talk to. Nope. Talk to the dude with the flag. Whatever flag you're looking for. Talk to them. You can walk down the street and go, oh, they like gays, I'll go there. Oh, they like Trump, I'll go there. They like Biden, I'll go there. They like DeSantis there, fucking AOC, wherever the fuck you want to fuck with.
Oh, I love AOC.
A lot of people love AOC. A lot of people hate him. Dude, I had a guy tell me, he's like, you need to worry about this AOC girl. I go, I can't vote for her. Like, are you kidding me? Mow your fucking grass, dude. Like, talking about AOC to me is fucking, like, do I think most people, this is the weirdest thing that I can get, but political shit. Bottom line is, political people have turned into rock stars. They want to be rock stars more than they want to be fucking civil servants. And if we keep allowing it, you shouldn't love AOC as much as you shouldn't love any fucking politician. You should go, what is their fucking numbers? What are they getting done? And how are they supporting their communities?
Yeah.
Both sides of their communities.
Right.
Not just the fucking side that affects them. But I feel that way about your family. I feel that way about your friends. I feel that way about your bandmates. I feel that way about everybody because it's kind of the same. And that kind of shit to me, because every day, dude, through COVID and through the political year, I was just like this. It was everything in my patience, because I'm a very patient man, to even remotely get through that shit. Because I was like, if I had to hear one more person on either side telling me what I needed to do, and I'm like, have you met me? Like, it's hard to influence in me like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and what are you even doing? Like, I'm nobody. I'm a grain of sand on this fucking world.
Right.
So just I have no responsibility like that. You know what I mean? So it was easy. But I mean, like, growing up, what you're doing and getting, at least you're making some moves to get out of that. I'm glad you came out and you're being gay and you realize you like girls and not girls that look like boys, or boys that look like girls or whatever, but just girls.
Vaginas.
I was going to say straight girl, but not really.
No.
Anatomy.
Yeah.
Straight.
So we have a
Oh, there you
hotline
go.
number. I gotta tell you guys. So it's 234-200-5949. You can text us or call, and we'll say, just send us a text of what's going on, and tell us some stories, and we'll read them on the air. This is the 4th show, so we haven't actually. We're starting to put them out next week, so you guys will actually be able to see these in conjunction. So we're obviously pre-recording these, and we're going to read your crazy-ass stories, and that's going to be bonkers, I have a hunch. You know. But we appreciate you sharing what what you do, and that you help people. You know what I mean? But you're doing a walk, and you're new to this, which is hard, but it's not, because even straight people that have been doing it for their whole lives are still going through the same shit you're going through, other than being ostracized at their church. But they're probably being ostracized about other shit in their church. You know what I mean? Like some other, like their political views, or their anything, or they might have a gay cousin or a gay kid, and they're just like, fuck. Because it's not just the gay person. I mean, I have a gay child. You know what I mean? So I still got to deal with that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you know, I got a couple gay kids. They just keep
You
getting
have
gay.
one. I have one.
Yeah, I got a couple gay kids. I always joke and say I love them just so much. They just got
You
passed
just
down to
joke
them.
and say you love them.
No, I
Just
love
joke.
women so much that you
Oh.
know it just got passed on to them.
Okay.
But honestly, like looking back, yeah, I could tell my kids are gay. I just didn't care.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
For
why the
what?
fuck do I
for
care?
what?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've like.
Because
I-
the straight
I
kids
think-
in the family are just killing it. Like,
Right,
fuck.
crushing it.
Right. Right.
Like dude, if you can find somebody that loves you and you love them and you can get
Mhm.
along with them reasonably, I'm in,
Mhm.
man. Because
Right.
dude, my kids do it better than me.
Mhm.
They do. They do it so well, and I'm so proud of them. But
Yeah.
you know, I just want people to be fucking reasonable and be happy. You know, and like you guys deal with that shit at work, and then you got to come home and deal with it in your own personal life. So
Mhm.
I mean, I do too. You know, and it's hard. You know, like these weeks get hard, and even listening, like doing edits for the shows we did before, and talking to people about that stuff. Like we talked a lot about porn last week, and dude, that is an endless conversation with people.
I'll tell
That
you.
is such a deep
I've
fucking.
talked about it twice since.
Since then,
Since last Saturday.
God, man.
Twice.
I mean,
all day.
like, why is it? Do you see a lot of I'm not on TikTok. Do they have a lot of videos on TikTok about that?
About
People
what,
having
porn?
problem with people on porn?
No,
How is that possible?
it doesn't come
How
up
come
on
everything
my-
else is fucking talked
on
about, but
my-
not that?
So
So we can't talk about obvious shit on there?
No, we talk
I-
about autism,
Fringe groups?
ADHD, marital issues, but like it's an algorithm.
So
right?
the only thing
Like,
I see about porn, like on like my social media, is again like I'm around like lots of like Christians, so like a lot of like fight against porn kind of thing.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's sin. It is the devil's work.
Yes,
Is it?
apparently.
We're working through it, I guess. Oh, I have a question for you guys real quick because I'm in the midst of figuring this whole thing. So attachment styles.
Oh
Mm.
God,
Do you guys get
Thomas,
sick
is
of
that
that shit?
next week's
Yeah,
topic?
it's coming.
It's
Attachment
it's a whole
styles.
episode for sure.
Oh yeah.
So
I'll do my research.
Yeah.
I'll bring it to the table.
bring it
next
hard,
week.
okay?
Yes.
Because literally
It-
that
it
was a
is- it is a
huge thing in my
whole
life
like
this
thing.
week.
It could be a
Huge
like
thing
a
in my life this week.
a
whole
whole series.
a whole like college grad school class on
Yeah.
So listen,
attachment styles.
I'll do my research.
Can
I'll
I?
bring it.
I'm gonna ask one question. You can think about it until
Sure.
next week.
Okay.
So you know how my brain works pretty well.
Uh huh.
Okay.
I do.
So I watched these videos, and a video was shared to me like, "Hey, most of the time you have a nervous or an anxious attachment person that is usually
Attached
with
to you,
to an avoidant." Okay.
you're avoidant.
Well, I mean,
They're anxious.
of course.
Well,
And
right,
when
yeah.
we say avoidant, like there's some avoidant things I do, but there's avoidant
Sure.
things that most people do. Okay, let's just fucking be honest. Like I love how people. So here's my thing. This video to me showed this like view of this. Like if you have the anxious, blah, 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 you can tell your partner, and your partner, you know, should respect, and you can give them the tools. And I'm like this. I'm listening to this video, and I'm like, not one time did this fucking person say, "Hey, maybe you should fucking start doing things that are insecure."
Right.
Secure attachment issues instead of saying, "Hey, I'm just going to keep being an avoid, or I'm going to keep being an anxious person or an anxious attachment," and you just got to fucking feed this and be okay and coddle
this
this.
is what I am.
You
So
have
you
to.
have to deal with it.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
is my brain working crazy to think? So look, so I looked at the different ones, and we'll talk more about
I was
this
gonna
because
say
obviously
next,
we don't
this
have
is
time.
A good topic
So look,
for next week.
I looked at them and I was like this, okay, well, I'm going to look at secure attachment.
Sure.
And I literally said, I am going to try to employ only these things. I'm going to reprogram myself. And I hit most of these things. I'm not going to be a dick, but like I hit a lot of them. Okay. Yes, I avoid shit that's like, to me, is like, this is going nowhere. I'm fucking
Sure,
out.
right,
Okay.
yeah, right.
Okay. So, but I'm looking at this and I'm going, but when I'm watching this fucking video and I'm like, so you just get to keep doing it, huh?
You just keep saying I'm a, Libra. Like it's just
Yeah, I like
just
this.
as,
When a
like-
girl gets drunk and acts like an asshole, she's like, I have Native American in me.
Right. Like it's just
Right?
facts. Like,
You've heard
I
it.
have, I have
Yes.
an anxious attachment.
No, you're an
style, and
asshole.
That's just like what it is. Right.
No, I'm
yeah.
not saying about that. I'm saying, but
Sure.
okay, I do understand that. But to me, wouldn't it be more helpful
Should be.
to start applying the things that are in
Yes,
the good part?
because that means that you'd be working on yourself and trying to.
Well,
improve
Oh,
yourself.
quit it.
Oh.
Nobody wants to do that.
Do you want to have job security? Especially in Columbus, rent's high. You got to keep your
That's true.
job. So
I-
you
You'll
get,
be
so the thing
set.
is, like, as long as humanity exists,
you're
You'll
good.
Be fine. I'll be
Job
fine.
security.
You'll
You'll be fine.
I'll be
Uh,
good.
yeah.
Listen, I'll be tattooing your dad in prison, like for real. Okay.
well, he's dead.
I know he's dead.
All
Guy-
right. Well, thanks,
that note-
guys.
On that note, be nice to everybody. Call our hotline. Jay will put it up again. Melissa, thank you for being a guest and sharing your story
Thank
with
you
us.
for
I'm
having
sure it'll
me.
come in really handy to a
Mhm.
lot of people. I hope it does. And so remember, hold your church leaders a little more responsible because it really hurts people. Apparently, we should know that by now. And you know, maybe just do better. Kelly, you
Yes?
got that mic. She's like,
No, I'm just swiveling.
I know,
I was grounding myself.
know you
because
were.
the chair was
she was
spinning.
spinning. You guys have a great day. Be nice to each other. Roll it.